And we're in business.
Okay, it's 7:01. I'd like to call the Arundel Planning Board meeting to order. It's a special meeting. Let's start with a roll call, please.
Marty Kane.
Tom McGinn.
Roger Moran.
Bob Kuhn.
Rich Ganong. Tad Redway Planner.
Ian Tartt, Board Secretary.
On the agenda this evening, we had proposed zoning ordinance amendments. Item 1 is finalization of administrative amendments, definitions, conditional use performance standards for 8.24 pet daycare, 8.25 drive-through facilities, performance standards revisions for lighting 7.5, landscaping 7.8, signs 7.12. Item 2 is finalization of district regulations, 8.21 downtown business district 1, 8.22 downtown business district 2, 8.23 townhouse corner. 4 is resource protection district. Item 3, finalization of miscellaneous changes, addition of pet daycare to R4 and B1 use list, change duration of stay in section 8.17-A.5 seasonal cottages. Item 4, finalization of zoning map amendments. Item 5, miscellaneous changes in format. Then we have we're going to schedule the public hearing dates and then other business. You ready to proceed, Mr. Planner?
I am, and thank goodness for this agenda because I forgot the last two items on the motion. Because there's so many different things in here, and those need to be added to the motion as well. So I'm doing that right this second. Okay, we start with finalization of administrative amendments. We start off with additions and deletions to section 2.2, which is definitions. That's a compilation of all the definitions that we've come up with the last 2 years, actually, gentlemen. Changes to definitions include such definitions as banquet halls, convention centers, daycare centers. You'll notice also there we have a difference between moderate and medium and low impact manufacturing. We have also a difference. What else do we have? I have all sorts of stuff here. But you'll notice there were a lot of things in there, and you didn't realize how many of those we had actually done over the past 2 years. How many definitions? I pulled those out of the master copy that we've been running of the format change. So, anybody have any comments about definitions?
Just clarification, these are all new definitions, anything that...
Anything that's underlined is a new definition. Correct.
Okay.
Just for the record, James Lowry is joining the meeting.
Sorry for my tardiness.
Okay, what did I see here that I read?
The one question I have if we're just waiting or opening this up to questions under P, powered sports facility.
Yep.
I don't remember approving powered tracks anywhere.
We didn't. What we did is we denied them from being in various places, and so we had to define what a powered sports facility was. Okay, you folks came to the conclusion you didn't want them in various locations, which pretty much boiled down to all of the locations. So obviously those are something you're going to have to consider in the DB1 district, probably. But in the B1, B2, and Townhouse Corner, you decide either one. They're specifically excluded from Townhouse Corner and B1, and then you went through the discussion of whether we wanted them at B2, and the concern was whether or not that was too close to residential. Take them out of there. So that's why we had the definition. It's a good thing because I anticipated our attorney because she said, "Where's the definition for powered sports facility?" I said, "Why? It's right here." Yeah. So, in fact, most of her concerns in a lot. If you'll notice, most of her concerns dealt pretty much with definitions. And she was so. Bet you guys don't remember sandwich board signs.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, good, okay. Wow. And recreational facilities, remember we had passive and commercial, remember those?
Yeah.
Okay. That should be underlined, actually. Recreational facilities underlined. And what we also did, in case you didn't notice, is over time, over the 2 years we've been doing this, we had different names for the same thing. And so what the definitions, what we did is consolidate them all. We had personal service business, you remember that, we got rid of that. And we just kept things really simple, personal service, commercial service, and then went through all of the sections, all of the use sections, and made sure that they lined up with them. Do they also have section 6.3? They will come to it.
They're numerical, so
Okay.
I guess it's part of the one that's labeled 6.0.
Yeah.
It's within that. The
Yeah.
table,
Yeah.
yes, it's there.
Same question about service clubs, where do we allow them? Do they
You had them as clubs.
just clubs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clubs, and then we also had fraternal organizations in another section. And club is actually, we have the term club, and this was the definition we had from way back, but it was under the term fraternal organization.
Okay.
Since we have service clubs throughout the whole ordinance, we said, well, just make that fraternal, service club and fraternal organization is the same thing.
Unless they offer alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
Just, this is, I understand, the one that I have, this is gonna be incorporated into the other definitions in section 2.2. If we can look at schools, this is minor, but people will be reading it. Institutions, that, so let's pick out one of those.
Where? Talk to me.
The third
Last
word
page.
in.
Second or third is in there, pick out one of them.
I stutter.
The other, yeah, hey, I thought this was pretty neat. Okay.
Top line on the last page,
Yeah.
school.
Okay.
Bet you guys
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
realize you'd done this much work.
No, it felt like it.
It's nice to see the results.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see it when you see it all in the new format. I had to pull these out of the new format and go through it because I forgot some of these things we had done that are in the new format section.
So as we, just, Mr. Chair, as just a matter of course, instead of going down through each of these ones and saying confirmed, at the end, can we just get a consensus that the majority is in agreement, because there's gonna be a motion at the end to incorporate all
Yeah,
of these?
yeah.
And then we have to do it and do it and do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, plus on the definitions, I want to just be able to cross-reference, as we get in some of the districts, if there is a definition, if the ones we want to just double check on, I hate to approve it and then
Yeah.
question later. Well,
Wait, do you have examples, Tom?
well, one was that the school specialized, so as I was reading through these, I just wanted to know, what does that mean? So, because I hadn't heard of it before. And I have a question about theaters. Is that, theaters is in the standard definitions?
We have a definition of theater, don't we?
They're not on its
Movie
own.
theater.
Wait, movie theater.
Well, we just put in movie theater. Theater is in the original.
Theater is in the original, okay.
Let me just make sure of that.
Where are we getting theaters?
That's
No, it's not here, it's in the original. These are just the ones that were
Oh, I thought he
original.
brought it up, because it was here.
Well, we had performing arts centers, and remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Theater is in the existing ordinance, and it says a facility for the production of live performances such as plays and concerts. We have performing arts centers. Come on, it's the same thing. Yeah,
Okay.
let's not come
Was
close.
Performing Arts Centers in there
No.
before? So
Yeah, no, we
would've
were
been
adding
more-
it, we took it
okay.
out. I took it out. I said,
Good.
why don't we want replication?
That makes sense, good.
And clubs, I think is another one. Clubs is gonna actually be deleted. This service club takes its place. Yeah, club gets deleted. I'm sorry, page 5 of the ordinance. I don't believe I put that in. Club gets deleted and replaced with service club.
Okay, so on the definitions, we're gonna add club and it'll be crossed out essentially.
Well, what it'll say is,
You're changing it.
yeah, changing. Club, delete club and add. It's delete club and add. And add following. Which is, all the other ones you see in here, you see where there's deletes in here, where there's crossouts. Business retail sales, just retail. Everything else are retails. We didn't have a good definition for banner. Remember doing the banner ones?
Yep,
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if you guys remember that.
if we forget.
Yeah, that was. And low impact manufacturing went to 6,000 square feet.
Yeah, I saw that.
When we did the TCD district.
Okay.
Which is okay, it's because we've got it at 20,000 in the TD1 district.
On banner, the cultural banner,
Yeah,
it seems like there's something missing at the very end of that. First, or maybe Lodge shouldn't be there?
no, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
So your public interest. We go over this before, and we went over age restricted communities, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so the first thing we want to attack is the pet daycare center.
Okay, is that the next one?
Well, I guess I should, I'm jumping the gun here. Everybody satisfied with definitions?
Yep.
Okay, and the next one is pet daycare centers. These are the changes we made last week, right?
Yeah. Plus the changes that, Leah made.
Yeah, it had to do with number 9,
Yeah.
Where are you?
pet daycare centers.
Which is section, oh gosh.
Right, I think there's a
8.24.
numbering,
It's at the back of your packet. More
Wait.
towards the back of it.
On the,
right, we do have it that says 824 there, but it also says 824 for the Townhouse Corner District.
Right, we're gonna have to renumber that.
and on the sheet, and
On
on,
the sheet,
and on the agenda, it's got the townhouse corner at 823.
823.
No, 824. We had 823 reserved originally for,
Gateway?
it's just here on the agenda, it says 823.
yeah.
Yeah.
I recommend we go to 824, unless you want me to renumber everything. I'll be happy
No,
to renumber.
well, sure.
Townhouse
We're
corner
trying
is
to-
8.823, because it's reserved. It was reserved originally for,
Okay, you were just saying
But
824.
my confusion came about because this says 824,
right,
so does Townhouse Corner District.
yeah, I know.
So which is correct?
Well, whichever one you want. I've got it as, here's what I've got it down as. 821 is downtown district 1.
Right.
822 is downtown district 2.
Yep.
823 is reserved. That was originally reserved for corner, for Gateway. 824 is Townhouse Corner, 825 is drive-through facilities, 826 is pet daycare.
Okay.
Oh, okay, our
It's
sheet
just,
said
the numbering scheme is different.
our
Numbering
sheet-
scheme's different, because, you know, when I went through it again, I went, oh, yeah.
So we'll renumber that.
So what are you renumbering?
So-
In fact, you'll find that one of the motions in there is amend the ordinance for grammatical numbering and reference errors,
Right.
A2,
because this happens a lot.
okay, so pet
As long as we
daycare is
change that.
A26,
Yeah.
Then it is to change it,
Yeah,
yeah, because it's referenced.
yeah.
A25 is drive-through,
No, yep.
825 is drive-through, 824 will be townhouse.
A24 is townhouse. What is A23?
It was
It's
reserved.
reserved for the town.
Okay, it's still reserved, okay.
Yes, because that's.
All right, now we can change these other ones.
Okay, right.
Okay, so let's just get that moved on first.
Okay, so is everybody on the page of pet daycare?
Yes.
Yep. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Daycare, yes.
I see that.
Yeah, what I had in here is I had gone back and found the ASPCA standard.
Yeah,
And it was 150 square feet for a large dog, 100 square feet for a medium dog, 75 square feet for play dog. It's actually a range. I decided I wasn't gonna give it a range, I'll just give it a number. Then Leah, you probably saw where she
Yeah.
said her comment, well, you should do it for indoor. I said, I can't find indoor. All right, there is no ASCPA indoor. What there is there's the one where, basically the Association of Sheltered Veterinarians has several standards for interior, and, it's not on this one. It's what I sent you, wasn't it?
Do you need a copy of that? I have it.
Of what?
Yeah, I got the
Yes.
April 24th instead of the April
Do you
28th.
need that?
That's what I have is the
The
24th.
24th.
24th, that's what I got here, so I printed out this morning. on
That's
my
what
side.
I copied, that's what I had as well, in the email.
Okay.
So is this one?
Yeah, Leah had sent one where she said she wanted a standard for indoor dogs.
You do have, number 15 on this
Yeah.
version.
Sufficient size.
Yeah,
Yes.
she wanted an actual standard for that. She said that was a weak point.
Did you come up with one?
No, we came up with, I think, didn't I send you guys the,
You sent-
did I
Yeah.
not send
Email
you the
about something.
email?
Yeah.
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 I sent you the email about with the veterinarian guidelines. Guidelines for standards of animal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing,
I
didn't bother
I was gonna
with it.
print 500 pages,
No,
shot
Oh, I
my,
printed it.
it shot my,
Found you guys.
stopped my printer and my computer.
Okay,
my
well,
paper
that was
paper
a
and-
popular one, I see.
I figured I didn't need.
Should've just pulled
There was
the
enough
page
to
they
read.
needed.
Yeah, yeah, I probably did. Well, I wasn't sure if it was, I didn't think I really would print it, I thought you would just refer to it, it's PDF. But, geez, I thought I also sent the revision based on that, but maybe I didn't. There's been so many.
An indoor, you know,
This is what you sent, I'm gonna pull for your email.
when they're indoors, they're in a little teeny cage.
You said
It's
fish.
as big as the dog, you know.
Oh, no,
But
I
that
actually
doesn't make
think
sense.
I did find it.
They have to have efficient holding areas for the individual dogs is what they need.
Well, most of the holding areas, you know, they talk about is anywhere between like 21 square feet is usually the size for a larger dog, 21 square feet indoor.
Yeah, so there, I mean, that's your standard for,
What we could say is, we could say in here, we could reference this in here if we wanted to, and I think that's what originally I did. Rather than come up with it, I said, because she said, you need a reference, you can't be arbitrary and capricious.
So add it to number 15,
So it's
Yeah,
just
so
added to
yeah.
15.
Yeah, so it would be,
per the guidelines
Yeah.
in,
per guidelines. Per guidelines for standards of, and I think that's what I put in there, per guidelines for standards of care. For standards of care in animal shelters, standards of care in animal shelters. published by Association of Sheltered Veterinarians. 2010. Okay.
I have a couple of grammatical things here.
Can I ask a question about that before we get on that? What happens when they change that in 2015?
Well, let's change the ordinance, won't we?
Why don't you just
Well,
say
what does
or
it out?
as
Yeah.
amended?
Or as amended? Current edition,
All right.
latest edition, something like
2010,
that,
Latest
current
edition, okay.
whatever.
What if we don't agree with it?
Well,
What
Well,
about
maybe-
the difference? Yeah.
Yeah, we're basing it on a professional organization.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Let them decide.
Current edition, we'll put down, current edition.
Latest revision. Whatever.
Latest revision.
Okay, okay, Tom, you had a.
Yeah, on number 10 on the second page, it says, shall be set back at least 50 feet. We need from the property line.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Right,
Yeah. There was another error too,
Well,
someplace.
there's another one here, number 14. The last sentence, it talks about activities shall generally be provided for dogs during hours of operation. Then, if offered, I think doesn't really need to be there. It just,
I gotta get you to what Leah wrote, I have to. Okay, this is the one, so let me go print that, why don't
We're getting back to number 10 as well, we crossed out
Would
fences.
you like me to go copy that then?
And
You
fences-
can, yeah.
Fences need to be put back in.
oh, very good, I didn't catch
I'll
it.
be right
Yeah,
back.
yeah, fences need to be put back in.
Because she makes also a reference about a hearing, we gotta have a hearing.
well, that very first,
Well, he's gonna give you new ones.
So we crossed out on the bottom,
yeah, fences follow proper.
Fences shall be.
Any outdoor portion of dog care operation shall be entirely fenced to a height of no less than 8 feet to prevent dogs escaping.
yeah.
Then,
And then, starts out,
fences shall be set back at least
Fences
50
shall
feet.
be,
see, he's got shall be as the next word after that, so he's gonna put fences back in.
fences shall be set back 50.
Yep.
We can talk about this when Tad comes back if we want to, but I think in number 14, we should strike the word board in the first
Yeah.
sentence,
Yeah.
because.
What if they're not
They
bored?
are
Right, what if
copies.
Yeah.
What if we're just
I don't think
educated?
they're bored,
Yeah.
but, you know,
Yeah,
Right.
could be a happy,
Period.
excited dog.
yeah,
Or a mean, miserable.
right.
Yeah.
Do we have to get an expert to assess if they're bored?
Use-
How do you
And
judge
on
that?
whose dime?
We get the dog whisperer to come out and
Yeah.
determine if they're bored.
No, that one's not bored.
That one's just
No,
happy
that's
to
right,
see
he's
you.
not bored, so he's allowed
Yeah,
to
he's
bark
allowed,
by
yeah.
your code.
Good one, Greg.
And I think if offered does need to be there,
Yeah,
because it's
just-
just outdoor activities shall be supervised.
But if, you know, Jamie, if we're gonna look at that, we should probably look at the word monotonous, to provide monotonous barking by board dogs.
That's you're exactly right. And
How
maybe,
about to prevent barking by dogs,
maybe excessive barking, or
excessive.
something like that.
But that, the lawyer would tell you that that's subjective, define
I
excessive.
know.
Yeah,
Uh,
prolonged barking.
What's that mean? It's a tough one.
It is,
Right, that is. And I think we've gotta
You gotta do something.
put something
Yeah,
there,
it
Yeah.
has to be,
you know, even just to have the premise of what we're
so maybe excessive.
looking at, and I think, yeah,
We all know what it means, but.
right.
it's kind of like art, we
The
all know it
neighbor
when
will
we
tell
see
us what
it.
it means.
Yeah.
Well, what
Right.
it, what it boils down to
Right
is
away.
it's there and it
Lesson.
would be able for the code enforcement officer to
Yeah.
utilize it upon a complaint.
So we'll just go to prevent continuous slash monotonous slash excessive slash, you fill in
Prolonged
the adjective.
slash.
Annoying.
Annoying. use the word excessive in 17.
Yeah. So do you wanna change monotonous to excessive?
Well,
Yeah.
Well, it's defined in 17.
Right. True. As monotonous barking for more than 30 minutes at a time. Makes sense.
It should just be defined as barking for
Yeah.
more than 30 minutes.
Why don't you teach your dog to learn how to change pitch? And
But if they bark for
You
15,
say you're on,
Time it so it's
guys.
not, it's steady.
but if they bark for 15 minutes, go in and come back out, and 15 minutes later, they bark
Unless you want to
again.
get put in the kennel. This is what
Yeah,
you gotta
come up
do.
with something better. If there's 3 or 4 dogs, I mean, they can really have some good barking.
We can get some good hounds in there.
Yeah.
Bay.
Yeah, it's a good variety, as long as it's a good variety, it's not monotonous.
Okay, so,
Since it is defined
Yeah.
down below, maybe that 14 should be after that last one.
yeah, I'll reference it. I mean,
If someone was reading 14, they didn't see excessive, well, I guess it doesn't really
the
matter.
code enforcement
Yeah.
officer would be the one
Yeah, it's right
dealing
there.
with this, so
Yeah.
the complaints
So
go
there-
to him, so
Okay,
he would know.
I think that ought to be happy dogs, don't you? So, you will provide activities for them and rub their bellies every 30 minutes. Yeah, that's a hard one. Okay,
I don't think I have to worry too much.
okay, so those are the two major areas then.
Yeah, and this, whatever the town attorney made it for a couple of years, sent to us.
It's two-sided.
We can't just follow Shakespeare's philosophy on lawyers.
What?
We can't just follow Shakespeare's philosophy on lawyers.
I wouldn't in this case, because they,
They changed some of the wording on some of this.
That's what you said, Tom?
you didn't print it out, you got the 24th, this is dated 28th. Leah sent it.
Okay.
Okay, so she's
Fence.
recommending.
fence is still there?
Yeah.
Well, now is the word "and" in there,
Great.
on number 10.
And number
And
10.
shall be set back at least 50 feet.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
And- Okay. Yep, that end
From
was
the
in there
property
before,
line.
all right.
Right.
From, yeah,
from
Yeah,
that
from
has
D.
to be added in.
yeah.
And put back, and, oh, you don't need that
We don't need
fences now.
fences.
No, just get the end in
And
front
shall
of
be
it.
So number
set back
14,
at
had they
50
changed
feet.
monotonous to excessive.
Why don't you look and see what she said first?
She said monotonous.
She didn't say anything.
On
Right, she didn't
14,
address
she
it.
No
didn't
comment
address
there.
it.
The excessive is clarified in number 17,
So they felt it was,
Yeah, okay.
and then one took out board.
or dogs, because what if they're happy dogs?
But they like to bark.
Roger that.
And,
Well, I guess they could be happy and bored.
yeah,
Usually the board.
The dogs.
All right,
They
where's
always
the-
happy.
Where's
They
the
only-
board?
Right
Right
after
after
the barking
monotonous.
by board dogs.
Walking by board dogs.
By what? What does
Just
it
dogs,
say?
we don't care if
Barking
they're
by
happy or bored, nobody gives to us. As long as they keep quiet.
and if offered, is that needed?
Yeah.
Just
No, it's not.
just scratch that, just outdoor activities shall be supervised.
Yeah, I think that's an in. Don't strike that.
What?
Barking dogs should be supervised outdoors.
Yeah, keep that there.
Yeah, no, we're just
You're saying-
taking out the if offered.
If
Right.
offered, take that out.
All right.
So if they go outdoors, they need to be supervised.
On 15, you're gonna take out the 2010 and put in current latest revision.
Did you just add that in there?
No, that was
Well, it's
in,
in-
that was in,
Leah's notes.
no, that was, no, that's my addition.
Oh,
to-
okay.
In response to Leah's notes.
Oh, you just typed that a few minutes ago?
No, I did it yesterday.
Oh,
In response to her notes, I said, I can't find anything. And I'm not
Right.
gonna come up with an arbitrary standard, so.
So this one's gone.
I'll let somebody else come up with an arbitrary standard. But I won't be responsible for it.
Yeah, just take out 2010 and put most current edition.
Or latest
Latest
revision.
revision.
Latest revision.
Latest revision.
Latest revision.
It works for me.
You're big on a lot of shall be's, in case you hadn't noticed. And 17, it's after notice and hearing, in the hearing. Which is standard procedure anyways, but she wants to make sure it's in there. Okay. We'll be sure to do that.
Okay.
is the notice and hearing the dogs, or
Yeah.
after hearing the dogs?
After hearing the
It's been a
dogs.
long night, it's in there.
That's
First you
another-
noticed the dogs, then you hear the
Then
dogs.
you hear the dogs.
What standard guidelines are these? Is this yours?
Okay.
Mine,
So,
this is Ann.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
You're all done with
Yeah,
pet daycare center. Now we'll move on to drive-through facilities, the easy ones.
Yeah, it's the same, as-
Those are one-sheeters.
we didn't change that at all.
They didn't change it.
okay.
Nothing changed.
Okay.
Just copy the house.
After a quick glance, everybody feels that there were no changes made to this?
Yep.
Okay.
We had that for 2 years. I had to pull it out of performance standards.
In lighting,
Section.
Going for lighting?
yes.
Of the new ordinance. What? Yes.
I don't have lighting.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it's the stuff that Ann gave out.
Man, I know.
It's in,
Is
towards
it
the
in
back.
Lighting just
Okay.
basically corrects those sections that make reference
I'm
to
sorry.
CCS and HC, which are deleted. And it makes a reference that the lighting standards of the district, of the individual districts supersede the standard.
Yep.
in here. That's all it does.
Okay, but where it's inserted, that's only for the lighting of gas station?
No,
No, because it shows up on the.
it shows up in
page.
several locations. I was gonna put it in 7.5A,
5A,
but it
yeah.
kinda, it's such a long tone, you know?
Okay,
No?
Where are you?
lighting.
Yeah, I mean, lighting is.
Section,
It's in the back of your packet,
page 2,
7.4.
page 2. And that's where all the changes are, on page 2, and actually, no, you're right, page 1, it's 7.5B1, which it talks about gas stations, the next one is exterior displays. It's the same thing that's put in.
I don't think Marty or I have that.
Well, I got the packet that
Yeah, I don't
Ann
have
gave
either.
me, and I'm trying to find it
It
in the
was the
packet.
very last one in her packet.
It's towards the back.
Mine, it was 7.5 was the very last one.
Maybe, wait, those are the ones Tad brought tonight, hang on a minute. Maybe I missed you guys.
Probably-
Jamie, I know I missed you because you came in late.
And I have two notice of,
Yeah, there's one
Public
for each
hearing.
district.
Yeah,
One's
those
for
go-
the general
Oh,
school,
okay.
That's
one's
for your
separate.
oh yeah,
reference.
they're different, yep.
And there's-
It also has the maps. in it.
Sorry.
Yep.
yes.
Thank you.
And we're gonna need these two then.
Tad, there's, those additions about where the, standards conflict. What are the conflicts? I don't know.
Oh, it's mainly in color, it's in CRIs and heights of fixtures.
Okay,
So it's a color rendering index,
yeah,
which is the color of the light,
yeah,
and the other part is the height of the fixtures.
okay,
Although I think the height of the fixtures is almost the same as it is in here,
all right.
but
Well, it doesn't
we,
hurt to,
the objective is to remember, in the new ordinance, the objective is to get them to look always at the old ordinance. And when we do lighting in this, in the new ordinance, it's radically different than this. It's a little section in the general performance standards, and the lighting standards are in each individual district as they are right now.
Okay,
But I kept this because,
just in case.
In section seven.
because we haven't done BI, that's why.
In section 7.5B,
Yeah,
it says in the community commercial north, community commercial south,
Right.
highway commercial and business, we're going to lose the community commercial south, that's gonna be part of it, and we're gonna lose the highway commercial.
right, those two things get lost.
So those two should come out of there.
Yep.
What note was that in?
7.5B.
So we're taking that completely out.
No, just the community commercial south and highway commercial,
It's the same thing,
because
as we've changed the names around so many times.
it's gonna be B1 and B2 now.
So we can remove the reference to the old.
Well, actually, I'm thinking
No.
about that, because I think it's gotta be changed to, in the BI, DB1, or DB2.
No.
Yeah. Because this is lighting of gasoline stations, right?
No,
Yeah.
7.5B.
7.5B.
B.
7.5B, it just says, doesn't say anything about gas stations or anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does
7.5B1.
below. Lighting in these districts, the following standards shall apply. That should be a colon, by the way. And then you go into 7.5B, which is lighting of gasoline stations and convenience store aprons and canopies. So, community commercial north or south should be DD1 and 2. And leave it at that. And DB1, DB2, and the business and BI.
Before you make those changes though, Ted,
Yeah.
this is part of the old regulation. This is amending the old lighting.
Yeah.
And at the end of 75B1, you're showing that in cases where the lighting performance standards for the DB1, DB2, and towns conflict with this, so you don't call out DB1 and DB2 up here, like you're.
Well, then these these lighting standards would only apply, see, some of these lighting standards apply to gasoline stations now.
So are there standards in this section
That will still apply.
that would apply
That still apply.
to the DB1 and DB2?
Yes.
So that those have additional standards that would have to be met?
Exactly. And the intent is for these to go away in the new ordinance. Because in the new ordinance, there's only gonna be in the B1 and the DB2 where gas stations will be.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Question, are you using gas station, or are you using fueling?
Gasoline station, convenience store. What,
I
if we were to
measure-
do that, it would be automobile, what is
No.
our definition? Automobile filling station? Yeah, I think, or no, it isn't that, that's right. We have, the problem is in our current ordinance, we have like
Yeah.
3 different words for the same thing. And we always make the assumption, but what is it, definitions? I should put it in the book. They got the definitions hanging on, it seems to be. Automobile filling, should be, yeah.
There's the service station, convenience store.
Oh, it's not in there, it's in our current ordinance.
Yes.
It's automobile, what's it called, automobile filling station, or is it an automobile service station?
Service.
That's what it
Service
is.
station.
And you know what, we should,
Mark? Service station.
yeah.
Well, I'm talking about fueling,
No,
okay? Because you have more than one, you're only gonna fill automobiles up, and you're not gonna fill trucks up. You're not gonna turn around and do anything else along the way of any other fuel. It's only automobiles, quote, unquote. Can't do motorcycles. I said fueling in general.
Well, it's just where the lighting would apply, it doesn't mean you couldn't do it somewhere.
right.
But it's, and I didn't bring my old ones, but
you need my
I don't
ordinance
think
there?
it just said automobile. I think it was automotive service station, meaning any,
I've got my ordinance, I'll read it.
An automobile service station.
It says, yeah, with gasoline or other motor
motor
vehicle
vehicle.
fuels, kerosene and motor, so I think it includes other things.
Kerosene, motor oil, lubricants, grease, retailed directly to public on premises, includes sale of minor vehicle maintenance products and accessories, sale of convenience foods, beverages, sundries, and servicing, repair of automobiles may be conducted as accessory use on the premises. However, a body frame, so it's automobile service station, and that is the current definition that we have in the current ordinance. And frankly, under lighting here, it should say that exact same thing.
It should.
not. So that's a very good point, thank you for that, Bob. So it should say, lighting of automobile,
Service station.
automobile service station.
and that includes trucks, Marty. A truck is an automobile.
Under this definition.
It's a motorized vehicle,
It's a
which is what
motorized
is
vehicle.
addressed.
Yeah. Right.
Of the motor vehicle.
So that includes
Yeah.
motorcycles, snowmobiles, four-wheelers, cars, trucks, and buses.
Diesels.
And the way it's defined is it's by what is sold, not necessarily what
Kind of
the,
vehicle.
what the person is
Correct.
putting it in.
No, actually, it does define what it's going in. It's a motorized vehicle.
No, it says a business establishment where gasoline or other motor vehicle fuel, kerosene, motor oil, lubricants are retailed directly to the public.
Oh, okay, I thought I had heard the word motorized vehicle.
I want a question in there, since you're trying to
Automobile
become
defines it.
so futuristic.
We need to,
You put anything in there about your propane,
common term.
natural gas, or anything else?
This is for at the service.
What I'm talking about.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah.
Would that fall under other motor vehicle fuel?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, I would say it would,
Yeah.
because it's,
That's why we put it in there. I think that's why it was originally in there.
I mean, I think
So
that's
whatever else
the
comes
knowledge.
out.
I think what we
Hydrogen
prudent for us
gas,
to do is if we started
gas,
doing
You can't, you can't, because if it's not in there, if it's not defined,
It says
you have to
other
wait a whole
or-
year.
well,
But
then
it's,
we go under the other motor vehicle
Yeah.
fuel until then.
Yeah, it would be including the electricity.
But those are fuels.
Garbage, yeah.
Yeah, whatever's fueling the motor vehicle can go in there.
Yeah.
That's what it says. We might get a little conservative because of the nuclear, but, if we have packages for that.
Let's go for it.
Nuclear telephones, why
there'll
not?
probably be federal regulations
I'm
for
gonna go
that.
for nuclear car, a couple of isotopes, I'll be good for a lifetime.
Right.
Ted, there are also a couple of other references to community commercial south, or at least one other one.
Yeah.
7.5, point B, point 3, point B.
Yeah, boy. Wow, that fine didn't work very well, did it? I would say DB1 and DB2.
That looks good to me.
I would also, I'd put DB1, DB2, and TCD in there. TCD.
Yeah.
What is CCD?
TCD.
TCD.
Townhouse Corner District.
CCD. You guys.
Yeah, we put it in a new ordinance.
In a whole district without you.
New district without you seeing it.
Okay.
Commercial community
So
downtown.
we're all happy with lighting?
Are you adding TCD to 7.5B too?
Yes. 7/5B, 3B.
Not 7.5.
Let's jump on to
I got,
landscaping.
wait, a minute, I got one question for you. With the lighting, anything else? Are you measuring this in the dark, or a simple plain is, because if you do have, if we ever get anything along Route 1, light-wise, you're gonna turn out to have illumination from your road, and is that gonna change your standard of only 5.5?
0.5. 0.5 is pretty little. Usually it's 0.1. We got 0.5 and we make sure that we get some bleed onto the road. Will it change if we get lighting? Sure. we'll change standards based on changing conditions. But right now, we're basing this on the assumption there's no lighting in the, along that road. or along
There is
the
none.
roads. Exactly. So the assumption is based on that, that's why it's at 0.5 instead of 0.1, because
A higher-
0.1 is what it usually
A
is.
higher, if the lighting out there is higher,
Yeah,
then that was, would have been put in as a town-approved deal. So the lighting at the service station is negligible. If the lighting at service station is lower, it's gonna be overcome by the higher, so it doesn't matter. Well, still, the end result is not gonna change.
Why did the lighting have to turn on, be dim at Weirs?
I don't know, I'd have to look back.
Wasn't part of words that it was into the street and at the
Yeah,
time we
it
said.
was
Yeah.
over 0.5, I think, at the
Yeah.
time. And I think actually.
I don't
it's-
remember.
It was over 0.5, and I believe that, in order to compensate for that, what the lighting engineer did was he said, well, we're gonna dim it down. They said they wanted to dim it down anyways, because they didn't want to run the expense. The LED
Yeah.
gave them the potential of dimming it down, and they said, we just as soon make it a standard.
Yeah.
I said, okay, fine. None of these standards are really changing from what we got right now.
You know, and ultimately, Marty, when we look at this, it's gonna be based on photometrics data, and we can have them exclude streetlights if we want to. Yeah.
Or include.
Or include, right?
In fact, they usually do that, because frankly speaking, if they have streetlights, what it does is they can use the bleed over from streetlights to help reduce their lighting needs.
Yep.
So that would actually help save them in some cases, where they don't, they can just reduce a few lumens, and that's savings over a 20-year period. It's a huge savings. So,
We also
They're all set on that.
All right, landscaping and buffering.
7.6.
7.6 is what?
Parking.
Oh, parking, yeah.
You just passed that
Oh,
out
okay,
tonight, it wasn't on the
okay,
agenda.
yeah, I forgot to put that.
Well, it wasn't on this,
No.
wasn't on here.
It's the same sort of thing. I mean, we could put it under cleanup, the cleanup stuff, the references to
All
other.
right, well, we're
here.
But if we're
Right
here,
Yeah, let's do it.
Numerical.
it's basically just dealing with, the parking makes several references to CCS district. Yeah. Anywhere it says CCS, that's gotta come
Oh,
out.
CC,
CCN.
that's CCM, we keep.
CCN stays.
Yeah.
Until the complaint committee. Well, actually, until we have to do CCN.
Next one.
Complaint committee's done with CCN.
I think you've already struck the CCS.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah, it's
CCS.
already
been
Yeah.
stated.
You know, that's gonna be
Stays.
B1.
Yeah.
On page 2.
Yeah. So that's
the change.
that, I mean, we could have put it under cleanup, under cleanup stuff, but I wanted to put it in there.
Yeah.
And the last thing, in the ordinance, we could have grammatical numbering and reference areas, errors, would refer to something like that. Artifacts, we can put in there. That's an artifact. Otherwise, we're not changing anything on our part. Down here,
Yeah, you've
down
got
at the bottom of the page.
Yeah,
Now, this is dealing with the landscaping, if you recall. We have landscaping standards for parking lots in both the DB1 and DB2 and TCD districts. So they're struck from here.
They're struck, so they're not existing?
No, they're in the individual districts.
The highway, commercial, and CCS things are now in the DB1 and DB2.
Okay, got it all?
yeah.
More expense?
Everybody happy with that?
No.
This is like just buffering parking lot.
Well, just for an example, you have a minimum size of a tree, okay? Which is street trees, okay? Minimum height is 14 feet, okay? Fine. Sign on it can be 8 feet, so turn on your tree is gonna plow out your sign.
Where are you in this, in the ordinance?
Landscaping, right there.
We haven't gotten to that.
We haven't got the landscaping yet.
We're doing our off-street parking.
So we're all set on parking?
Yeah,
If you're under landscaping in your parking lot,
Okay, so if we're all set on that, then the next one's landscaping.
yep.
Okay. You guys probably remember this from,
Okay, 7-8, Marty, this is where you.
yeah, this is where you're gonna,
oh. Green vegetation buffer is fine, but we're not turning on, you're putting on so many restrictions and everything else to make it not affordable for a businessman to even build anything, overall.
But it's my understanding that this is what the ordinance currently says. We didn't change it.
well, we put it.
Yes, you have
We made
changed
some
it.
changes, but we didn't change that table on the front.
Parking, buffer.
I give up.
Marty, am I wrong, Marty? Did we change the table on the front? I thought that's
You're
what the-
changing, you changed different things along the way. Now,
Marty.
now, let me finish. Instead of being over-talked. The fact is, you're gonna have a tree taller than you, when you have come along the way you've changed on your signs.
Would you try answering my question? Is this not what the current ordinance has for a table?
I'm not sure.
Well,
There's my answer for you.
Well, I believe that this is what the current ordinance says, because there's no strikeouts, there's no changes in that table.
No, this is a repeal and replace. This is a complete replacement
See?
for section 7A.
Okay.
Okay, because 7A, if you read 7A, you remember, we did this thing was introduced back when we were doing,
It's been a while.
2 years ago.
no, it was a year.
Yeah.
It was back when we did Pam Drew's thing, remember?
Yeah.
And I was trying to come up with a standard for a buffering, and who was it? Somebody said, you already did it, remember? It's in here. I said, oh, I forgot about that. So this was, yeah, we went over this, I think we might have gone over this 2 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, this is basically landscaping and buffering, and it's calling for street trees in places where you have site plan, plenary site plan or conditional use permits. So, big projects are required, this is required. So, new big projects. Things that qualify for plenary site plan review, and things that qualify for conditional use permits. Have to do these. And quite frankly, this is actually less stringent than what we would be doing. If you remember, Paul was doing things at 30 feet on center, and this is 40 feet on center for a tree. It also gives you a lot of options. And those are mature heights, Marty, those aren't,
Minimum.
no, minimum planting size, mature height is
It's 3.
mature height.
Yes, I understand that, but minimum.
14-foot height for the,
Conifers?
Only if you put in an evergreen.
Yeah.
Or you can put in the other kinds and put them in at 2 inches, 3 inches.
Yeah.
Evergreen's still 14 feet. If you're putting in, for an example, if you're turning in and putting arborvitae's, which is an evergreen, okay, you're gonna have to have it 14 feet high. Minimum. Okay?
Okay.
And then turn around, put a sign there. You aren't even gonna see a sign.
Well, Marty,
Sign
you
in
don't,
front of the trees.
you don't put signs, you don't put trees in front of signs, and you don't put signs in front of trees. That's what design's about. But I would agree with you, 14 feet, I'm not quite sure where 14 feet came from.
Well, your sign is only gonna be 8 feet high. Maximum height of your signpost.
Why would you put a
I'm just saying, what
next to your
you're
sign?
putting
Why would
it
you
on.
do it? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's not
I
saying
wouldn't
that
do
you
it
have to
at
do
all. I
it.
wouldn't put any trees
I
there.
know you wouldn't, but
You green vegetation buffer.
that's not what it says. It says street trees in the current ordinance. We're doing nothing different. All we're doing is specifying that somebody has something that's predictable, so they can have some predictability to what they have to do, instead of it being arbitrary and capricious, which is the way it is in the ordinance right now. Calls for street trees. Doesn't tell you how many, doesn't tell you what the offset is, doesn't tell you what size they have to be, doesn't tell you anything. So any planning board can decide that you got trees every 10 feet if they wanted to. This, at least you've got a standard where they can't go below, I mean, unless you've got a special circumstance, they can't make it, they can't make you do more than a certain amount. And that's one of the reasons why we put the table in here, was to get some predictability to it. That's number one. Number two is the inches. Yeah, why do we have caliper inches? Because let me tell you, if you put in anything less, but you probably can verify this, you put a street tree in that's less than 2 inches, caliper, not a chance, it's gonna have a tough time surviving. It's gotta have some maturity to it, some root ball to it in order to survive, you know. And it also, I mean, it just gives you specifications for different things. It doesn't say you have to put in a large shade tree. If you decide to put in ornamental trees, that's different. Guys down at Champaign put in ornamental trees 15 feet on site.
Well,
You know what?
Yes, but they have angled
You know,
visibility.
but to Marty's point, the conifers evergreen.
I would agree with the
Where-
14 feet. You can't
I
get
think
a
I think it's not
conifer.
feet that should be there, it should be inches. Everything else is in inches, 2
No,
inches, 3 inches.
But I think, the conifers, I think, are sort of measured and designed by height.
By height, they are.
Where the deciduous is by your caliper.
But they're,
Yeah, that looks like
but they're all not 40 feet. This is only looking at conifers that are going to a height of 40 feet.
Right.
Many go 4 feet, 12 feet, 16 feet. That's their mature height.
Yeah.
So only if you're planning one that's going to reach its maturity at about 40 feet do you have to meet it, and I guess that's for growth reasons, I don't know either.
I
But
think 14 feet's too, I'm glad Marty pointed it out, 14 feet's a little excessive, because if you look at nursery stock,
Yeah, and
usually it's about
who can
8
afford it?
It's usually about 8 feet, 6 to 8 feet is usually what it is.
Hey, Ted, what's the intent of having the mature height column?
I'll just give an idea of what's a large tree? What's it mean, a large tree?
Oh, okay. So-
Okay, it's
For that
basically
to be
giving
the
you an idea of what the
differentiation
height
between,
is.
I got you.
That it's saying, oh, this is gonna be 50 feet plus. For
Yep.
instance, let's say a robinia is gonna be 100 feet, or a paper birch can be 90 feet.
Yeah.
You know, get up that high, but it can be. You know, so it's saying anything over 50 feet is gonna be a big
It's
tree.
considered a large tree. I
Yeah.
got you.
Anything under that, you know, between 30 and 40 and 50 feet is gonna be, medium tree. And then
Yep.
you get into small ones, like your little cherries and so forth, or your Crisco, that's hawthorns. That's when you're gonna get the small ones. So it's not telling you gotta do, it says, hey, if you're gonna put in trees, this is what we mean by large, medium, and small. And conifers, you know, we use conifers mainly for buffering, but if you're gonna
Right.
put in like 4 or 5, let's say white pines, for some reason, for some bizarre reason, you're gonna put white pines in. You know, it's saying you should
Little
have a
limbs
certain
will break
height,
off.
but 14 feet is a little extreme. Frankly, I agree with Marty, I'm glad he pointed it out, I would say 6 to 8 feet.
And if you plant them with your building so close and everything else,
It doesn't tell you how to design it, Marty, it tells you what the spec is on the tree. How you design your tree and what tree you select is all about, that's the design issue.
So we're changing minimum planting size in the conifers to 6 to 8 feet.
I would recommend that. You can put in an Armstrong maple, which is a columnar maple, which grows to a width of 6 feet and a height of 50 feet.
and how
That's
many
beautiful.
generations?
6. How many generations? They'll do that in about 25 years. But the point is, you can make a columnar tree. There are places where you can put columnar trees in, they look great. You've got color, you've got some, not shade, but you've got color, you've got some accent, and at the same time, you've got a tree that's not interfering with vision. I mean, you know, there's a myriad of different kinds of specifications of trees, but it all depends on your creativity, on how you use it. But if you plunk sugar maples, you know, in front of your sign, or you plunk in, you know, a white pine in front of your sign, yeah, you're gonna have problems. It's not calling for you to do that.
if we go to 786 parking lot landscaping,
Yeah, 786.
under 1, starts out wherever possible, and parking lots, we're missing something.
Just get rid of and.
Unless otherwise specified by the.
Oh, yeah, well, maybe that's the
Cross
answer.
out the end.
The and and the comma.
I'm sorry, which one are you at?
Number 1
7,
screen.
8, 6, 1.
Wherever, oh, yeah.
Possible.
Parking lot shall, yeah, that's Hotspur Street. Okay, just take out the end.
Public street.
There's something on page one.
What?
There's something else on page one.
What's that?
Oh,
Under street trees, 783, and then down below under 3 where it says species selection,
Yeah.
A. On
What's
the
that mean?
list of recommended street tree list outlined in the as specified, but that's a little messed up.
Where?
Yeah.
783,
A.
3A.
Second,
All proposed species shall be selected from a list of recommended street trees from the list, yeah, trees, recommended street trees. Outlined. Just take as specified by the planning board.
and
Outlined in
Outlined.
the what?
No, just put as specified by the planning board.
Oh,
Oh, take out outline.
Yeah.
outlined in the, take that out, okay.
So recommended street trees as specified by the planning board.
and
Trees
under,
list.
Or it could be as approved by the planning board. So it's specified. I'll give you that list, it's the National Arbor Day
I'm
list.
glad you called that, because I had a question at B.
Yeah,
It's requiring it to be designated on the master street tree plan. We don't have a master.
no, we don't. That's in case we get one. We're applicable, that's where applicable. See, one of the things, okay, I'm thinking ahead here, guys.
You have
One
to
of the-
Okay,
One of the things I'm thinking ahead of
Okay.
is
As
some of the
applicable.
stuff we're gonna be getting for grants and so forth in the future, a lot of street tree grants and so forth, so I have to put that in there. I mean, I could take it out if you want.
no, that's fine. I
Because
just
it does
see as
specify,
applicable.
there's going to someday be a master plan, but the master plan is something you need if you're gonna get a tree grant or get a tree city designation. You've gotta have a master street tree plan. So I thought I'd put in the master street tree plan here and think way ahead, but if that causes confusion or scares anybody, then I just as soon take it out, because we can add it later.
Might be just easy to add it later when we're ready for it. It might bring up some
It
questions.
might bring up some questions.
Just
You just
to-
brought up a question, I'm like, what's he up to
So
here?
taking B out?
Yeah, I would take B out.
Oh,
Okay,
If B is out, would A be lonely, yeah, it's all right?
no, because there's C afterwards and that gets renumbered. to B.
Oh, you're good. Okay.
So, I'll change that. I'll get that out. You see, I was looking at a tree grant this past winter.
We'll
And
put
I
it
thought
in
I'd throw
when we-
that in, or last winter. I thought I'd throw that in there because they want a master tree grant. So if we have it in the ordinance,
Are tree grants more important than lighting?
I don't know, Marty, I don't have lighting grants, but I have tree grants I can get. I can get money for trees, but I can't get money for lighting. And we got specifications for planting.
Is that on the island plantings?
Yeah.
Number 4 at the last page, page 4. Shall be curbed planted islands should be constructed every 120 feet between, should that be like along parking rows?
Well, I was thinking of between the rows.
If you have a row of parking. Yeah, draw out for me what your,
Okay, so your normal parking, as you know,
Yep.
is 60 feet, this is 60 feet, and then you got another 60 feet in here, and then, I was saying after, this has nothing, and then this one, it's every other row of parking.
oh, okay.
Is gonna have,
Would be, I thought you meant islands. All right, I was thinking you
Does
meant
that not
islands
say
in
that?
between.
it is
that
islands
does-
in between, but
But not to break up a long run of,
it's like that.
yeah, yep, okay.
So it doesn't require islands at every single thing, it's
120
just
feet,
120
right.
feet.
Yep.
We don't have a lot of situations where we have 120 feet. But if we
Yeah,
get some
okay.
big, I mean, what we've got right now is that thing where you put in 5 trees for every acre of parking.
Right.
Well, what's that mean? You know, at least this gives you a specification, say, we're gonna put in either curved or depressed. Now, depressed isn't a bad idea either, you know, actually, depressed works pretty good for, especially for stormwater.
Right.
And it's not used enough. Everybody curves, and depressed actually works much better, I think. I like it a lot better. Plowers will love it a lot
Right.
better.
so.
Well, yeah, so, yeah.
You all set on landscaping?
I believe so.
Remember, this is general, and then we get into the specifics on
Yeah.
each standard, each district.
Okay, signs.
Signs, what we're doing in signs is not much. I recall not doing hardly anything. I think I'm gonna reference, don't tell me, oh, there we are. Whew. Jeez, I started sweating mortar shells. Go on the third page. No, there's changes, they start on the second page. Remember, we're going into our existing ordinance and we're eliminating references to certain districts. Now, for instance, in 712B15, we've got contractor signs, and we identify those signs, and we take out the CCS and put in the DB1 and 2, and instead of HC, we put in the TCD. So, contractor signs in all those districts.
There's one change on page 1.
It was?
712A3.
Oh, pyrotechnics.
That's what we talked about, the sign.
Yeah, we talked about
noise.
during the sign thing, remember that? We
Yeah.
wanted that moved over into here. So,
We did the same in 712A4.
All right.
right. Oh, how did I do that? Okay. And then we go over to 712, did I miss any other ones? Then we got 712, B15, and that's contractor signs, we already went over that. And then we go over to 712J. And there we talk about, we take out HC, we take out CCS, and you notice where we've got the 3 stars, it says,
Yeah.
You gotta fix the
Right.
number of styles.
I'm not sure.
That's
On
712J.
permitting
signs.
something went wrong there, the B1's not there. DB,
B1 is just before Town Those Point District.
DB1 is supposed to be where HC is, and then DB2 is where CCS is, I don't know why it's not.
Wait a minute, say that again?
DB1 is supposed to be where HC is.
HC has been a highway commercial to because you changed
And then
highway commercial into community south. Because it always used to be just plain HC.
So it looks like the HC would be totally stricken.
Yeah.
The
HC
DI
would
would fall under where the CCS?
Right. Now, what, you have to make some reference to the signage in the 2 districts.
Is it not sufficient to have the asterisk at the bottom of the sign that says, see section 8215 for the DB1 sign standards?
Yeah.
Is that not sufficient? Because we're telling them, you have to go over to this area and look at what that standard
Well, we
requires.
could do that.
Would the,
We could do that with all of them and basically say, for section, for DB1, DB2, see the sign.
Right.
You
that's-
do,
you
right
do,
there at the
but that's
bottom.
that's what you've said at the bottom.
Yeah, so you just take all of this as blank with an asterisk.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess.
And then you've got the asterisk below it, see section
So-
8.
So you would just leave the old districts in this table?
would they would be left there?
Yeah.
The old districts
The
would
old
be left there, the
districts.
new ones, you have the asterisk that says, if you wanna know
Right.
for DB1, go to
DB2 or
8215.
Right.
So, I don't understand with the, so like HC would be left?
No,
HC
no,
HC's
HC
taken out.
That's
That's
indicate
gone.
what's being struck.
What,
DB1.
R1 through R4 will be left,
Yep.
but,
Yep.
CCN would be left, and BI would be left.
but where the asterisks are, won't be there anymore, so.
But you changed the HC to DB1,
To DB1.
asterisk,
And this
And then at the
C-
bottom of the table, there's an asterisk that says, see section 821 for DB1 sign standard.
So it'll say DB1 up above with nothing below it?
An asterisk.
Right, DB1 with an asterisk, and you'll look down here, and it'll tell you, go to that section, and that's where the standards are.
Okay.
Or to simplify the table, you just take it out and put the reference
Right.
footnote
Yeah.
below it.
Or have it above it in the
Yeah.
sentence in the paragraph up above.
Well, the only thing, when somebody looks at a table, you're gonna look for all the districts, that's the only thing.
Okay.
They're looking for all the districts, that's why I wanted to put it in there. And I could do like I do in section 6, which we haven't gone over yet, where I do actually vertical in here, little letters saying C section.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's here on the next page, 712N.
I think I like that better, instead of just having a blank space.
Right.
That
Yeah,
way
like-
you see it right
Yeah, how you
there.
did right here.
Yeah.
looks
Yeah,
good.
I like that.
Okay, we can do that.
I like that too.
Okay.
Where are you?
Next
All right,
page.
so I'll just make that change.
Good.
And by golly, I did it on the next page, didn't I?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Good.
Sign.
So-
They're still,
Hey, can I ask a question and hopefully not open up a large can of worms? A couple of weeks ago, we had a member of the public make a comment about a sign being taken down. He had an agricultural business.
Yeah.
What's the backstory on that, and how would that sign have fit in, or presumably not fit into our sign standards?
What we have here is we have sign standards for districts. The districts, what we have is that in that particular district, which is an R1 district, covers a number of existing farms. And the sign requirement in that district is no more than 6 square feet for
Okay.
signage. Because it's assumed it's residential, without taking into account we have existing farms there.
Yep.
So their farm sign can only be 6 square feet. Well, I don't know of a farm sign anywhere, of any real farm sign, that's
Right.
only 6 square feet. And what he was asking was, can you increase this? And the board decided they didn't want to do that during this session, as I recall.
I don't remember us
no,
having a
we
whole lot
never,
of discussion.
we
about
never
it.
voted on anything
I was gonna
about.
ask the same, I was gonna
Because
ask
that was
the same
upstairs.
question, when we have all of these other ones called out, I didn't know that we had, I
No.
thought we were going to address that sign.
Well, we didn't. The point was, we didn't get around to it. I mean, I can do that instantly. I mean, that's not hard. But, that would
I mean,
be,
I would like
that's
to
an
see
exception
some-
to the R2, to R1 district.
Right,
So
and
that would
that's
have to
where I
be-
was going, is I would like to see if,
Well,
without
for all
opening up a
resident-
huge can of worms, for any agricultural use in a residential zone,
Yeah.
to allow some level of enhanced signage for them to promote their agricultural business.
Well, it's fun. Well, you know, we have farm retail.
Yep.
But we haven't passed in the R1 district yet, right? Yeah, we haven't done that. We have farm retail, we have farm stands, these are signs that are allowed.
Yep.
Outside, what we can do, frankly speaking, what I started to do, but then backed off, was we could put it in 712B, which are exempt signs. Following signs are exempt from the requirements of this section, but they have standards on them. If you go page 2, see exempt signs? It's got everything from memorial tablets and public notices, public safety signs, vehicular signs, contractor signs. We just did contractor signs under 712B15. If you wanted to do signs for,
Agricultural signs.
well, I wouldn't put it agriculture, I'd say signs for working farms.
What do you classify as a working farm?
A farm that's working.
Okay.
Well, you know what I mean, Marty. I mean, a gentleman's farm, do you want to do it for any kind of agricultural use, I guess is the question.
My question is, you have to be classified as a farm, you have to have minimum acreage.
Do
To
you?
be, yes, you do, because you can't get a farm plate unless you have minimum acreage.
Well,
That's a
the
whole,
farm.
that's a whole
That's
different,
a
that's a whole different animal.
I know, but I'm just saying as a farm,
Okay.
this is where I'm coming at for my clarity.
Yep.
Okay? But the fact is, if you Because that way you won't have Harvey homeowner farm.
Oh, registered farm.
Yeah, but the registered farm, I registered with who?
You,
There
there was,
town.
there was a provision in here,
Town doesn't register farms. We don't.
We don't get we don't get farm plates.
I don't know about farm plates, but we don't register farms. There's no place. we
But there are
may
many farms
register-
that don't want farm plates in
Right,
their
right.
Yeah,
registers.
so what I'm
That's a
saying.
motor vehicle issue.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not,
totally what it is. Okay. So what we would have to do is come up with how you define a farm. So you asked the question, working farm, what's a working farm? Good point. What is a working farm? What do you guys want to, you said you want Harvey homeowner to have the ability to put up, let's say, 25 square feet of signage.
No, because you aren't allowed to have any businesses in the residential zone.
Yes,
Well, we
you
have
are.
lots of businesses in the residential zone. We're allowed to have businesses in the residential.
occupation.
Contractor can have it, and so can, what else? Home occupations?
occupation.
Yeah.
There you go. Mr. Chairman.
All existing ones.
If you're talking about farm sign on your truck,
no,
No.
talking about a
Oh.
promotional sign,
oh, okay.
On your
I
property.
thought-
or even just a handmade sign, for that matter, that somebody puts up there to promote their farm.
Identification.
Yeah, identify their farm, not necessarily promote it.
You might be able to.
Well, it was supposed to, the way that the proposal came before us, it was because it was a business one.
He had a picture of his
And he
cow.
wanted- I'm sorry,
He had a picture of his bull or whatever it was, and
and wanted to have something with the goods and services that he sold, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess my thought is if, by the nature of what's going on in the study of the town and everything, I wouldn't want to overly restrict that. You know,
Yeah, no, me
somebody,
either.
somebody has a nice sign that they wanna put up that has some basic advertisement of, milk and, manure and stuff like that, they can have it.
To Ted's point, too, though, these are in the residential area, so we
Yep.
want them too big.
Correct.
But I agree with you. 6 square feet isn't barely enough to say, Tom lives here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
personally, I think this is a discussion that we should have at some other point. I don't see putting that into this ordinance right now and changing it. We would, if we're gonna deal with changing those signs, because there's a lot more than just looking at it saying, this guy has a farm and he wants to have a sign.
Right.
If we're gonna allow larger signs in the R1,
There may be other
there
businesses.
are other businesses that are gonna want them or not want them. So it's an issue that we can't address right now. So
But
I
he-
think we should just move on.
Yeah.
And I agree, and that was where
Plus we-
I wanted to ask the question, but I wasn't hoping to open up a huge discussion and sidetrack our intent.
but he came to the meeting requesting it.
We'd have to write a definition for farms. That's another thing we'd have to do.
I mean,
Well,
He came, and it's something
It's
that we
only-
can work on, I
right.
just don't think we can put it
it
in.
depends on how,
for this
depends
town
on how
meeting.
you write that section for signs. There are exemptions may be given to businesses engaged in selling products to the thing, and the thing may be expanded by 50% or something. That would cover.
I have a grandson, okay, he's got a 2-acre garden down my old house. Now, how big a sign can he put on, it says Gino's Produce?
6 square,
6
square feet.
square feet.
6 square
By
feet.
3, okay.
6 square feet.
2 by 3.
Yeah.
Well, is he in the R1, what district is he in?
Well, he's in, I don't know, R4, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the
Out
same.
by your property?
Yeah.
I think it's 6 square feet. Yeah, we have this problem with the number of it's not just that, Kate's, for
Yeah,
instance,
right.
can only have 6 square feet.
Yeah, see, that's crazy.
Kate's can only have 6 square feet.
Okay.
Any farm, we have farm stands, we did our farm stands, and we still don't have signage on them. Wait, no, we do, we just haven't passed farm stands, we haven't passed the farm stand commission.
We have retail though.
No, farm retail, we have a new farm retail, remember, that dealt with husbandry, but we decided we weren't gonna do it because it involved having to notify every resident in the town. Same thing with contractor storage yards. Remember that?
Yeah, but now that we had to notify every,
We aren't notified everybody.
No, we aren't. Oh, how many were you notifying yet? How many we got?
It ended up being like 100 something letters.
So the DB one, DB two, and
And
TCD,
TCD, maybe like 130 letters have to go out
with the maps.
with the map.
That's what you
Yeah.
have in your packet. So we would have to notify, we'd have to notify everybody in the
Every
R1, 2,
residential.
3, and 4.
Yeah, if we were to,
Oh,
and that's,
That's-
I don't wanna upset the apple cart, I just,
Well, that's the benefit of rescind and replace. Taking an ordinance, rescinding and replacing, because then we don't have to do all this incredible notification.
Anything else on signs?
One minor thing on that table, 712N, there's that, above it, footnote 1. Wouldn't that be more appropriate underneath the table?
Signage of the signable area. This
yeah.
Probably should go underneath.
And a question on the operating farm sign, we're gonna leave that in there, or we're gonna, we should?
Oh, hell, I did something on that.
oh, there you go,
Yeah.
look at that.
I forgot about that.
There,
I did put it in there.
Yeah, but if everybody hasn't been,
Notified.
Yeah, but it's just a sign.
the sign,
But
This
it's
is
not
a
just a
repeal and
sign.
replace.
It's not just a sign.
and I don't think it should
We're
be.
arbitrarily saying that farms in the R1 can have 16 square feet of sign. The daycare, the accounting office, anybody else that has a home occupation cannot. I object to that concept.
Or a business, yeah, other businesses that are there.
We're singling out a specific business and say you can have a bigger sign because of the nature of your business, not because of the size of your business or the size of your property or anything else. Because of the nature of your business, you're allowed to have a larger sign. You're in an R1 zone, residential 1 acre zone. Anybody else if I want to open an office in my house, I should be allowed to have a 16 square foot sign. I can't. I can only have a 6 square foot sign.
Right.
If we're gonna do it for farms, we have to do it for everybody.
I might disagree with you on that.
I would disagree with that.
Okay.
I think they're a little bit of a special, most of them,
In the
I think-
R1,
if they're allowed, yes, if they're allowed in the R1, they should be considered, in my opinion, considered as a little bit of a special use.
but we don't, are they
They have
allowed?
the
We don't have a
acreage.
definition. We don't know what they are. So are they
I'm
allowed?
not saying that they would necessarily get 16, just like in R4. But I think there might be they might get the benefit of a little more leeway than no offense, an accounting office.
Well, I think we'd have to define what a farm is.
Right.
And we don't have that, so I don't
that's
think
where
we
I
can
have
put
an
it
issue
in.
with,
That's why,
when it's not clear.
Well, so
But
to
nephew
Rich's
would be a
point,
farm, or
earlier,
someone
I think
someone
we
having
need
a
to-
beef farm?
should we strike that last
Well, yeah.
line
Yeah.
and address that in a larger discussion after these go
Yeah.
through?
Yeah, I got a good idea, why don't we just put signs completely out?
What sign it off?
Because
I think at this late
Well,
date,
if we did that, then you wouldn't be able to have a sign in the D1, D2, because the only sign.
would you just leave what existing now?
Well, what
So
I'm
you
saying-
turn on, you're not cutting your signpost down to 8 feet?
We gotta be out of here by 10 o'clock tonight, so.
Yeah, Tony, what time is it? 8:30?
And we got a lot of work to do in the next hour and a half.
The problem is there won't be any signage at all, because the signage this will reference signage in the CCS and the CC and the HC district, and they don't exist. So there won't be any signage.
so are we gonna scratch
Yeah,
that bottom row?
I would think so,
Yeah.
because
And we need to discuss a little more, we don't have time right now. And we have to
Yeah.
define the definition,
you need a definition for farms.
yeah.
well, I guess no.
Farm, anything 6 acres or more.
Well, but all of these, we're saying that the maximum sign is currently 6
Square feet.
square feet, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, we've got 16, 32 feet for R3 and R4, and 16 feet for wall signs. I guess I'm confused a little bit.
Actually, where would they be allowed?
Yeah, well, that's existing, I'm not proposing that, that's existing, Sean. 6 square feet for post signs, 16 square feet for a wall sign. So you can have a wall sign that's 16 square feet.
In R1,
Yeah,
right now?
right now.
Hmm?
Unless I'm terribly mistaken. Most people want post signs, they want it down,
I
on
want
the
it up
road.
at the road, yeah.
Yeah. So we just check, I'll just check on this, because I
So
think that,
these are for home occupations, they can have
they can have wall signs at 16 square
16
feet.
foot,
Which is 8 by 2, 4 by 4.
yeah, 3 by 5 roughly, so.
Really
Well,
cute.
in the business
3 by 5
district,
is 40.
in the business districts, we're allowing 15 feet, right? No poster project identifies located less than 15, so, or up to 50 square, 50, 60
And
feet.
there it is, it's, if you look at our current ordinance, it's on page 88, Tom. Yeah. While you were looking, I just redid
Up to
it.
80 square feet, current ordinance.
We've got, current ordinance is 16 square feet for a wall sign. So it's no more than a wall sign.
But
In
total
those
square
districts.
footage is, total square footage in your business zone, Route 1, okay, is what, 80 square feet total?
Well, that's in the old one.
In the old one.
Yeah, so you're cutting it down, you're cutting it back to 40 square feet.
We're not even there yet.
You got 25, up to 25 for identification sign, the 80 square feet for post projection. You've got, still got 50 square feet. So,
Somebody might listen to me.
total area of all other non-exempt signs shall not exceed 36 feet per building unless otherwise permitted for the zoning district. The total of all post signs per lot shall not exceed 100 square feet. So if you only have one, you could have 100, right?
No, that's not, you can't, now you're only allowed to have 40 square feet.
Yeah, but
In the new ordinance, you only want 40, and it only can be 8 feet high.
It was 40,
No, it wasn't 40.
it says 40 right here, Marty. You don't, you're sitting there just bitching about everything, and most of it doesn't make sense.
You don't even work with the field.
So
I'm trying
what?
to,
So what?
let me finish.
No, I don't wanna hear it. Jeez, you're just sitting there bitching, we gotta
But
get
you
through
won't
this.
even listen, you don't.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, guys.
Jesus. All I hear is bitching, Marty. How about
Work
something
with it.
productive? That's right, work with it.
Yeah,
What's the current ordinance say?
40,
no,
don't say no, Marty, it says 40 right here. Look at the book, page 88, table 712N. The
marquee
CCS,
sign,
CCN,
the
marquee
sign
signs,
is
40 square feet.
Right.
And the B&I, 40.
B and I, I'm not in B and I.
The CCS
You're in
is
CCS.
40.
It says
If
40.
you're looking for something negative, keep looking, this isn't it.
It says, no poster or project identification signs located less than 15 feet from the right-of-way shall exceed 50 square feet in area, and unless otherwise permitted in the specific regulations for each zoning district.
We're getting more liberal, we're allowing a larger size rather than small. We're not going small, we're not getting more restrictive.
That's why when you set it back up to 35 feet, or anything else, you are allowed to have more signage,
25 feet.
25 feet.
Yep. But we're not doing it, we also have to remember, there's we don't have a maximum amount of signage, you can get signage for a variety of different things. You have a maximum for a post sign, and then you can have signage on the wall. You don't have a maximum amount of signage. The bigger your building, the more signage you can have.
Yeah.
Instead, we base the signage on the size of the building. So it's a signage based on square foot of building.
And if
So
the building is set back 250 feet or anything else, it doesn't necessarily, you're gonna be seeing it from the road as you turn on driving
If you're
down the
setting it
road.
back 250 feet from the road, you're not gonna see anything from the road.
That's why you have the sign along the road.
Okay, let's move on.
So, a question on the operating farm sign, are we
I think we should
scratching
just
that?
take it out.
Okay.
Scratch that
was-
out
That's
altogether.
out? Okay.
And the rest stays the same.
Yeah. Any other issues? Okay, downtown business district 1. That should be pretty clean.
Well, you already did that.
Right.
Description.
Can we, before you go there, can we go to section 6? I'd like to get that out of the way.
Sections.
District regulations, this is the Frankenstein. This is the use table,
Okay, yes.
because I don't wanna leave this behind. This is the use table. The use table, basically, there's nothing really to do in here except for, you'll notice that we have eliminated CCS and HC.
Yeah.
And put in the columns for DB1 and DB2 and TCD, and it says, see the section for the use
Wonderful.
table. So it references those sections.
Yeah.
And the same thing with dimensional requirements. On page 6, under 6.3, it talks about the dimensional requirements, same sort of thing. Nothing else has changed.
That's a good, clear way of.
Yep.
covering it. No one's taking that.
That's kind of weird.
It is weird, but it makes sense for what we're trying to.
For what we're
make.
This is an interim,
Yeah.
interim measure until we complete the whole ordinance and get it in the new format.
So, to Marty's point, if we look at the last page of the land use by districts, where it's got uses similar to permitted uses, uses similar to conditional uses, and we go down to note 5, it says when a proposed use is not listed in the table, we're still gonna leave in the code enforcement officer shall make a determination.
Yep.
So if it's not necessarily listed, Marty, it can still, if it's just an oversight, and standard is that this is generally included in regulation, it could still be permitted.
For the moment, until we do the whole thing.
Yeah.
We need
No,
to have the omitted uses section.
No, I know. I would make the argument that that statement says that it is permitted, because the codes officer has to find out which one it is closest to. It doesn't say that it's not listed, it's whatever it's closest to, he gets to define it that way.
Well, he also has denied things that weren't even close to anything.
Oh, well, no, he has that ability, but this does not say that he has to. It says that he should look at it and say, what's it closest to?
See, and that's the problem, where we've got an omitted uses section. Our 3 ordinances are based on omitted uses, but our 3 new districts are based on omitted uses, that's why we went through all that effort. But since we didn't get there, we didn't put in the omitted uses section that's been defined already in the new ordinance.
Yep.
So we've got kind of a monster. The only other way to do this would be to change that. So it would say, basically, when a proposed use is not listed in the, with the exception of DB1, DB2, and TCD. DB2 and TCD. When a use is not listed in the table, the code enforcement officer shall make a determination to which the listed use, the proposed use is most similar.
Well, the other way is to take the 5 out of where you've got uses similar to permitted uses with a 5. You could put those 5s under R1, R2, R3, and R4. You don't have it in the other ones, B1, C, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, because it's a,
5 all the way across, except for those.
Except for those 3, and this is for use table. So we're gonna have to go, so that 5 only applies to these other, I mean, that's another way to do it if you wanted to.
I don't see the footnote in here.
It's
Well, I would-
on-
When a proposed use is not listed in the
That's
table,
roads.
code enforcement officer shall make the
When
determination.
land use by
Well,
districts.
It
I'm
already
looking at
does
uses
that.
by districts, I'm
Just
looking
the
at
last
the
road.
footnote.
It already does that because it doesn't say
Oh,
here,
I see.
all the way
Oh,
across to
right,
here.
okay.
So it's already taking care of that issue.
So what do you say?
Hope that it
That's the way I
applies
see
to
it.
I'm saying if I look at this table, the way this table is set up on page 5, when we talk about uses similar to permitted uses, it's not listed in DB1, DB2, or TCD at all.
Right.
So it's already addressing the footnote that says,
It's already
Right.
accepted.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
Okay.
agree. Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's a good point then. So we don't have to do anything. Okay, well, that makes it easier. Maybe that's why I didn't change anything. Okay, so
On page 6, are you gonna box that like you did for DB1, for DB2, and TCD?
page 6?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A little formatting on DB1.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, just trying to help, not being a pain. Okay.
Well, you know, remember it's gonna be extremely ugly until such, because when I have put it in the warrant, I've gotta show the strikeouts. Oh, it's gonna be a mess. I have to show all the strikeouts and I have to show all the add-ins. So it's gonna be
Why
a mess.
not just take the table the way it is now, put a big X through it, and stick the other one down?
Probably that would be the best thing to do, would be rescind and replace.
Okay.
It's gotta
I have
be.
a question on the table on page 6. Is some footnotes, 5 and 6, and 2, where are they referred to? All those footnotes.
That's the land uses that up above.
Yeah, the little foot, yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the very top of the chart, the last 3 items all have footnotes that refer down below.
And there's footnotes elsewhere.
So don't.
Oh, they're
look at
buried. They're buried.
The footnotes we were just looking at, on page 5.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
For instance, you'll look up on residential
Yeah.
dwelling in the BI district, you'll see conditional use has a footnote number 11. RP 10 has a footnote. Seasonal resort number 6 has a footnote next to its name in the table. This is one of the reasons why we decided we were going to do the new format, because this is just a nightmare.
So, okay, well,
So,
I don't,
it's sort of like a landmine. This is Bob's minefield.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry, Bob, I keep
They're all
attributing it
set.
to
That's
you.
okay, they're all-
You're the only one who can make your way through it. That's why I call it your minefield.
The rest of us got blown up.
The rest of
trying
us
to
get blown up by it.
But
All
do we have 1 through 11 as footnote?
Yeah, they're all up there.
They're right here, but
Page
are
5.
we using them, is what he's saying.
Yeah, but I,
Yeah. On page 3, we've got 3 and 9
Yeah.
as footnotes.
We also have 9 on the land management. We also
Okay,
have it.
that's 3 and 9, and we
There's 6
saw
on page 4.
5 and 6. 3,
There's
9,
5.
5, and 6.
There's 11 on page 4.
3, 9, 5, 6, and 11.
There's
And
1
10.
in agriculture on page 2 over in the
Okay.
SP district.
Yeah.
We have a 3 accessory structure is a 3 on the conditional in the SP district.
Got 7 on
Okay,
page
so
4.
we're
Yeah,
using them all.
They're all in there.
They're all in here.
Okay.
I didn't see a 1.
One's on
Very
Oh, yeah,
third
that's
page
first
2.
page.
Page.
clearing of room.
Page
Okay.
2 has a bunch of ones.
Okay, oh yeah, page 1.
See where it's clearing or removal of
Yeah, got
vegetation.
it. Okay, I missed it. when
A
I-
lot of that stuff pertains to shoreline zoning. In the new format, shoreline zoning has its own section with its performance statements in it, and it has the same list of uses.
DB1 we had approved before,
So-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to do much of anything at DB1, have we approved all that?
Yeah. I don't think she made any change. Why don't we just look at it and take a look at it?
Well,
Just make sure she didn't make any additional changes.
the lodging, we scratched out,
Including in.
including inns,
Yeah.
bed and breakfast establishments and motels.
Yep, because the lodging definition covers all that.
Yep.
Most of her comments had to do with the definitions, and then I pointed out to her the definitions covered these things. She said, okay.
Okay, architectural details, F, we scratched out
Yeah,
overhangs, classic details
Yeah.
reminiscent of
Yeah.
seaside cottages.
yeah,
That was a long time ago.
that was a long time ago we did that.
Okay.
I'm not sure I scratched it out of the copy I gave you, Bob, but I remember we got rid of that a real long time ago, like 2 years ago. And we got service, notice how it says automobile service station
Yeah.
instead of filling station, that was one of those, you know, artifacts. She put it externally illuminated on page 5. It says all proposed externally externally illuminated signage, even though it says it, but it's very specific. Oh my goodness, I just caught one.
In which one?
821.5, section 5.4, which in the new ordinance, that signs in the new ordinance format. It's not 5.4, it's 7.12.
Where is this thing?
Page 5.
Yeah.
Thought I caught them all, but I didn't catch that one. Because remember, this stuff was written for the new
5.4 should be
ordinance.
7.12.
Yep, it should be 7.12, not section 5.4. And this is one of the cleanup things in your motions, because there may be some other artifacts like that hanging around it. I usually do a search, and sometimes I don't get them all. I don't think she had anything else substantive.
She did have a comment about vague words like encouraged and should,
Yeah, she doesn't like encouraged.
and should.
Yeah, she wanted us to go to shall in some places. And I
Well,
think I
shall,
changed-
shall means you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Should means they don't have to.
Yeah, right.
She was upset about that. She said, if you're gonna do it, do it. If you're not gonna do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
I have a question, and I hope I don't throw anybody out. I'm looking at the permitted uses, and number 4, single-family dwelling, provided the dwelling is secondary to a business located on the site. Why then, if we have that, do we have number 17, which is home occupations?
Because we have existing residential dwellings out there. Currently.
And I would say a home occupation, the occupation, the business would be secondary.
Right,
But
but number 4 says that
The dwelling is
the
secondary.
dwelling is secondary, which is
So for
what
new-
confused me.
Yeah,
this really applies to new dwellings.
Okay,
Okay.
it had me confused, because home occupations is secondary, and number 4 says, no, the residence is.
And remember, all existing uses, I mean, all residents legally existing in DB1 district as of June 11th, 2014. So if we didn't put home occupations in here, those folks couldn't have a home
Right,
occupation.
okay.
Which is what we don't want to do. And remember that, number 2 is really what the comp plan committee wanted us to do for all districts.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Well, I think Tom had brought that up a couple times
Yeah.
too.
We'll have to fix those, crossing out those numbers, because those numbers aren't crossed out. And actually, retail, I was just looking at 28, that's, and we would say retail with a maximum gross area of 20,000 square feet per building footprint, it's already required down below. So, that's an artifact in field base. Well, is it? Yeah, there is.
Are you crossing that out?
Yeah, given, you crossed out number 24 altogether.
No, I haven't.
yeah, theaters is.
Theaters.
That's
Theaters.
all right.
Theaters.
So the number 24 has to stay there, but
Yeah, the numbering stays okay,
And
it's,
25 has to be fixed.
25 has to be fixed.
And 28 has a semicolon at the end. That's not needed.
Okay. Point. Otherwise,
So to your point of, the legal review
yeah,
saying that we should get rid of that encourage, are we actually gonna say will be used?
well,
If we go back to
if we
the-
go back through it and we say,
Through
well,
F.
all proposed structural renovations, modifications, new construction within the DU shall conform to the following design guidelines, okay? Shall, okay, so, well, you said that up above when you say you gotta get a design review certificate as part of your site plan or conditional use.
no, I think what Bob is getting at is F.
Yeah,
On the last sentence under F, you got the word encourage. Encourage. Are we striking that
F.
too?
No, I would keep that as encouraged. I don't wanna, you wanna specify that everybody's gonna put brackets? and
No, you just
No,
make
I-
reference to the fact
I
that.
just-
No,
Follow the-
encouraged, that's an,
Trying
that
to
was
follow-
always there, and that's what it's supposed to say that way. I would disagree with you on that, no.
Okay.
Encouraged is encouraged.
Okay.
You know, you're not gonna put spindles on the canopy of a service station, sorry, not gonna work.
Right.
It's gonna look dumb.
Well, no, but I mean, that's, and/or as applicable, will be used, you know?
I mean, this still gives you negotiating.
Yeah, but
Without demanding.
I agree.
So you
I would
can do
just
what you
follow
did with
your
VIP.
conversation.
That's what you're right, too, so that's.
Don't shoot the guy trying to follow your logic, okay?
Okay, we all done with,
Students watching.
TB one?
think so.
Yep.
Let's get a DB two.
Well, I circled that. I didn't bring it up.
Well,
That'd be too logical. I got that circled. Which one we on next?
DB two.
It's like a 23. Oh. Oh, I see.
Remember, boarding houses, in our current definition, boarding houses are separate from lodging. So we're including boarding houses. Boarding houses as they're used today are probably gonna be used more for, frankly speaking, for, maybe I'm opening up a can of worms here. Well, they're used for housing students and for, seasonal workers. Yeah. That's the way it is. It's a necessity. And right now, boarding houses, we still have that definition, which we didn't attack, saying that it had to be owner occupied. Which makes it just can't dump kids out in some place,
Right.
there has to be some supervision. I think that was the argument we made 3 years ago. So we didn't change the definition of boarding houses, because we felt you still wanted to have owner occupied supervision out there. So. Theaters and movie theaters are there, mix of theaters, low impact manufacturing, lodging and boarding houses, anything else.
the only question I had, was on 8226, item 4.
Convention center?
I'm sorry? Route 1 enters,
82,
8226, off-street parking loading requirements. Number 4, which is the Route 1 intersections, we're in DB2?
Yeah,
okay, I'm,
last page,
Number
page
7.
7,
Page 7.
number 4, row 1 intersection.
page 7.
We were hoping to create interconnectivity and drive-in and so forth. I guess my only question is, should that be with the ingress and or egress onto Route 1? I mean, I'm not sure if they're coming in and going out in their way, or they're gonna be, is it potentially just be one way going in and out of these things?
Well, no, it was to bring it back to 770. You have a different set of standards, driveway opening or road opening standards on Route 1 and Route 111 than you do elsewhere, if you recall.
Yes, no, I know.
This references that directly, so that they know, and, in a way, it's almost superfluous, because it says it above it. All proposed uses in the downtown business district shall provide off-street parking in conformance with design standards established in section 7.6, 7.7B1, and 7.7D,
Okay, let me
which is the intersection.
let me reword my question.
Okay.
If I were to do a development and I only ingressed onto my road from this one, am I not now subject to 7.6?
7B?
Yeah.
Right.
You should say and or.
The with ingress
Ingress
and.
and or egress, because it's
Good
like
point.
one,
I mean, that was my only point.
that's what
Oh,
it
I
was
see what you're
say.
saying, okay, and or.
Just not looking for a loophole to,
It's good, no, Bob's the master of finding
loopholes?
these. He's master of finding them and also playing them with minds. He's the minesweeper.
On that same item,
Yeah.
DB2, where does it connect to Route 1?
That is,
That's-
yeah, the driveway that goes out to Route One.
It goes
But
up.
it's still in the DB, it has to go through the DB1 zone. That's my only question. Should this be in the DB1 as opposed
It
to
is in the
DB2?
It is in the DB.
But having it here in the DB2 just seems kind of silly because it doesn't connect to Route 1 anywhere.
Well, it could though.
right, somebody could have a
They
right
may
of
build
way
out
or
in
say an
DB2,
easement.
they may build DB2 up before somebody builds out front.
But they'd still have to go through DB1 because
No.
the front is DB1. That's my only thing. That's just I'm
Just to
trying
make
to
it
figure it
clear,
out.
because if they're in DB2, they
He's
won't
right.
necessarily
No,
look
he's
at
right. You
DB1
have to go
standards.
through
You have to go
DB1
through
to get to-
DB1 to get to DB2. So why would we want to put that in DB2?
Why not put it in there? Because if you're building in DB2, you might
Ah.
not read the DB1 standards.
No, that's not it.
But likewise, I mean, you wouldn't have the DB1 standards. If all somebody had was an access road through DB1, the DB1 standards for lighting and architecture and everything else wouldn't necessarily apply to the DB2
But
project.
the entry does apply. See, there's entry from Route 1, if they're getting to DB2 from Route 1, that entry at Route 1 has to be per this standard, not the,
I agree.
Okay.
It does. My whole question is that there's no way to get to DB2 without going through DB1. So that
Right.
standard, that specific standard
Should
should
apply.
be in DB1, not DB2.
well, it needs to be in this one too.
Yeah.
Because DB2, there may only be this one street connecting with Route 1,
Okay?
so they have to follow this standard.
But they have to find somebody in DB1 that lets them put that street across their property.
Well,
That's
Well, that's what we're
my whole
hoping
thing.
for.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. I'm just thinking to myself, well, we're saying this is the DB2 district. There is no connection to Route 1 in DB2, and never will be because DB2 does not touch Route 1.
I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't hurt to have it there.
Okay,
I mean, it's just-
that's fine.
Yeah.
I was just bringing it up because I was curious about it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What did I just say? 8.22.6, it references section 7.6. Is that supposed to be 7.12 or 7.6? I don't know, I'm just not sure.
6 is,
Still under 7.12.
6 is, yeah, no, 6 is parking.
Okay, sorry, I was just,
It's off-street parking and entrances.
okay. All right, you're right, sorry.
And the numbers overload as it is. So what's the consensus? It stays or it goes?
I'll
What?
leave it there. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, leave it there.
changing it to and/or.
Mhm.
Yes.
It
Number
was,
4.
what else?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay,
It's not, it's to the zone.
yes.
That's all it is. Where have we mentioned or forecasted? Okay? Water. I pushed this and pushed this and pushed this.
Fire protection?
Yeah,
It's in site plan and conditional use.
but it doesn't say how far. It doesn't give a distance where we used to say before you had to be within 1,000 feet, to turn on between hydrants or anything else. So you can turn on and
What, That's regarding the subdivision, right, Marty?
No, we had to have it on Route 1.
So you're
It's not
saying
written, but turn around per se,
It's not
It-
written in the ordinance?
it's, no, it wasn't per se written before. Because if we didn't, when we had to have different ones put in a fire hydrant along Route 1, okay? Didn't say what side of the street it was, but it had to be within 1,000 feet. So turn it now, you're gonna have a DB2, so you can go in 1,000 feet, and you don't have to have a fire hydrant.
I think we've had that for residential, but I don't think we have for residential subdivision.
We've had it for business.
Business
Perfect.
subdivision.
And this is, DB2 is business, is it not?
Yeah, I'm just, all right, let's find it. Wish I had my computer here, we could do a search.
Was there a provision
Water
for,
supplies.
is there a provision for adequate fire protection?
In the site plan review
No.
ordinance, yes. But it doesn't specify what that is. The way it's going to state is.
Well,
this is
especially
what to be
with water available down there, now, we'd be pretty remiss not to make sure that
Yeah, we
if
finally-
we're putting in a
Yeah.
lot of buildings back there, not that,
That they,
I mean, we have to go through the fire chief, he has to agree that it.
Well, I don't disagree with Marty on having standards, it's just I'm not sure that, and that's what we're gonna have in our fire ordinance, which we haven't gotten very far on, well, we're in this. But, I'm just looking to see, performance standard generals,
715,
715,
715, 715. Oh, you're looking at performance?
what do you have on 715?
Water supply just says that they, so that's more groundwater in there.
Yeah, it's pretty much groundwater.
Yeah, because we had this discussion when we were doing all those cisterns and we required, not
Right.
us.
Yeah,
but the
correct.
fire had required two.
But we didn't,
huge
public water
cisterns.
wasn't available.
It's a good idea.
Public water wasn't available. We made, Dr. Balbo, he had to put in a fire hydrant there, along Route 1, okay? When we had made Ontario, coming down Log Cabin Road, he had to extend the water line, and that's residential.
Do you remember what it was for,
I think it was in the subdivision
I
ordinance.
have it.
on Route 1, what's his name, we just said?
Dr. Balbo,
Dr. Volga.
Phil Sandy.
So what do we use to?
It wasn't within 1,000 feet. Turn it, because along the way, we always said you had to have fire hydrants within 1,000 feet.
That's what I thought,
Here's
yeah.
what it says, it's in the subdivision regulations. Under sections 11.2, sufficient water supply. Any subdivision located within 1,000 feet of an existing water supply line shall make provisions for connection to the public system. When a subdivision is served by a public water system, water system with the subdivision, including fire hydrants, shall be installed at the expense of subdivider size and blah, 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 as approved by the fire chief. We keep going on to areas, yeah, you remember this one? In areas west of the main turnpike
Yes,
subdivision,
we got
with
rid of
5 or
this.
more lots, okay?
It was Terrio.
that was
That
Terrio's.
was Terrio's thing. And then there's another section in here, too.
That we were supposed to have gotten rid of.
We never did.
No, we did.
Didn't we?
No.
We did, we made some changes,
Yeah.
but we never did it, we never went through
Never
it.
submitted, but where are all those changes?
There's somewhere, I'll find it. Subdivision.
With Dr. Volga, maybe we got him on the subdivision.
Oh, you did, because that
Yeah,
was.
that was the
commercial
subdivision.
But
That was a
if
commercial
it's,
subdivision.
if it's not a subdivision, can we require it?
Well, you can
No.
require it under fire protection. You're
This
required
was-
to meet a standard of providing adequate fire protection.
Based on
It doesn't
the
have
fire
a
chief
standard
that-
like what Marty says,
Yeah.
it's gonna be based on the fire chief, but you
Well,
know.
we should do the
But he didn't,
standard. for
he
each
didn't have a subdivision at the time, because,
Then you guys basically bluffed him on it.
Yeah.
That's what
no,
you
turn, we didn't bluff him because.
Well, you don't have a standard, that's all.
Well, but if the fire chief said that was required, that was easy
It
as
wasn't,
fix for him, you know, that would do it. And I think it'd be a lot cheaper to put in a fire hydrant than to build one of those big cisterns or a standing
Oh, yes.
pond and connection and everything else.
Yeah, but the
Setting
fact
water
is,
lines is what Marty's talking about.
Yeah, no, I know,
Makes
it's
sense.
because we
Instead
have,
of
I
water
agree
lines
with
in
Marty
the-
100%, we ought to have a standard
Yeah.
that says if you're not within 1,000 feet, or if you're past that 1,000 feet, then you need to connect and make sure that you have adequate fire suppression.
Yeah.
because, turn on, we had a question recently on one that's come up, and it's in distance of fire hydrants. But we're turning on playing along Route 1.
When we do because we've got to start through the whole regulation as soon as we finish this.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of things to.
But that should be right at one of the ones up top of the
Yeah.
list.
Okay.
I think we didn't address it in this because we thought we were gonna do the fire. Oh, Rich, you remember the fire ordinance?
Yeah, I put the ordinance together.
Yeah,
and gave it
That's
to you.
gone nowhere.
It's gone nowhere, the selectmen have done nothing with it,
That's right.
and they're the ones that have to deal with it.
Okay.
I have something with, just a detail
Maybe they're
with,
gonna leave that for
on
separate.
222A. Number 2, it's about the street trees, and it's says, specimens, it's
822.
822A,
Yeah.
number 2. So
Last page.
it's from the approved list of, in italic, street trees for the town of Arundel.
Yeah.
But on the landscape and buffer one we were just looking at, it calls it a list of recommended trees.
So when we call it street trees for the town of Arundel.
On the other, just to make a match.
Yeah. You got that in?
Okay, so we're changing that on the landscaping?
Yeah, that's section 8,
783.
street trees for the town of Arundel.
Right, but we're changing it in the landscaping standard.
Yeah, but not in this 822, yeah.
Right, right.
To match this one,
Yeah.
Right.
approved list of street trees for the town
I
of
don't think, I didn't name it there, and I named it here.
And there is such a thing,
There can be one very
okay.
One would be provided when
One
requested.
will-
We'll find one.
Within 48 hours.
It'll be provided less than that, because, I mean, actually, it's the Arbor Day list.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the Arbor Society list.
Call it whatever we want.
Yeah, can we move on to Townhouse Corner District? Okay.
That's-
And this was the last one we addressed, so it should be fairly clean. Yeah, we had recreational facilities passive.
Right, it's
Oh, we
a
took out that big definition
I'll find it for you.
because we made low impact manufacturing to fill that Yeah. definition.
Yeah.
Okay? So we took that definition, that's why that's gone. And then the only other things were, oh yeah, fixing the recreational facilities, we called it commercial, excluding power sports, which is what you had before.
Yeah, and we took out the,
And the visitor, yeah, the visitor
Took
center's
that out.
gone.
yeah,
Okay. And then you see the note down below,
Yeah.
where she's beating us up for not, for not using shall enough. So, I tried to put in shall, I don't think I underlined it at every place, where I thought it would be reasonable.
you did that in roof shapes.
Yeah.
About sure the shower.
Yeah. Window and door area, goes should to shall. You get more than 66% of your building's glass, you got to find windows. Arrangement of windows shall provide a visual ribbon. Hard. Windows of different dimensions are permitted as long as.
Yeah.
Here's what?
As long as they occupy logical locations and structure. Then there's, remember there are all those references to public view, I think are in here in various places. Chain link fence located within public view.
We're gonna do that. Ah! There it is again. Another section from the new ordinance.
Where?
Section, page 4. Section 565.
At the bottom.
At the bottom.
Page
That's-
4.
That's in the
It
new.
should read what?
I don't know, we're gonna look it up. Let's look it up, it's in section 7. Should be in, it's in off-street parking. Coming forward shall be buffered from the adjacent parking residential to the screen to the street, so. What is it in 5.6? Here's how it's sheet. 565.
Well, we just did it.
We just
You
did
did
it.
it right here.
It's
7.6?
7.6.
7.6 is
You reference
parking.
it right above in the first sentence.
We're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
notwithstanding the parking standards specified in section 7.6 of this ordinance. That's what the new,
All off-street parking accommodating formal spaces shall be buffered from adjacent residential and shall be screened from the
It
street.
goes to screening and buffering, that's what it is, yeah. Okay. So it's 565, the screening and buffering.
so it stays?
No, that's in the new ordinance, in the old ordinance, in
So,
So we want to reference
No.
the buffering, landscape and buffering.
Right.
Isn't that 7.6C3 in the new ordinance?
the, should be.
At the bottom of page 2 on the new ordinance, the one that we got tonight.
What, the landscaping?
landscaping,
Landscaping is 7.8.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm looking at the off-street parking, the revision to 7.6 parking. Maybe I'm confused about where I should be looking.
No, it's in landscaping section, it should be in 7.8. This references 7.8, which is buffering and screening. Shall be screened, so whatever,
786.
7.8.5,
Five.
screening and buffering.
where's the screening? Where's this, here it is, thank you.
Okay, now you've got to bring that back up, because this
Yeah,
is. the
7.8.5.1 is screening. And 2 is buffering.
No, but we're dealing with parking lots, so it's 7.8.6. Next page, guys, that's general screening, and screening for parking lots is on 7.8.6, see it?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay, so it should be if it's screening, it should be 7.8.6.1. That's what it is, 7.8.6.1.
Well, you do 7.8.6 and then everything. in
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Everything within it.
Yeah, screening and
Yep.
buffering.
7.8.6.
Well, it said screened. It
It
says
also
screened,
says
not,
buffer.
shall be buffered from a, and no, you're right, 7.8.6. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome. Now,
Better reading comprehension than I have.
now Rich is gonna open up an can of
Hey, way to go, Rich. You're going home at 12, huh?
Yeah, I don't wanna go home at 12.
What do you got?
But I'm baffled at this point now, because in the 7.6 parking, 7.6 C3C references landscaping along the property boundaries,
Yeah.
but it's, so I'm just
It's
confused.
in
I mean,
7.6 and then 7.8.
yeah, it's in both places. Which one takes
But
precedence?
remember, that landscape thing takes out the 3 districts. That's only dealing with the other districts, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
not?
We apply to different districts.
Okay.
In DB1,
Yeah,
2,
okay,
and
yes,
corner.
thank you. You're right, okay.
That's the problem of making this Frankenstein.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
this Frankenstein monster we got. It's confusing as all get out.
Hey,
That's why I call it
Back in
Frankenstein.
So, I see Bob throwing the paper down.
or townhouse.
Are we,
Yep,
are we?
He said we're done.
I'm
I thought we were good with them.
Are we good with Townhouse Corner?
Okay. We've done drive-through, we've done
District
signs.
descriptions,
And parking.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the other stuff. Well, how about if we have no changes in 8.17.A5, right? We've already covered that.
Yeah,
That was the seasonal cottages.
The one thing I'm seeing in that I thought we discussed that's not reflected was to elaborate, expand on RSU school as well as others that were publicly
Yeah.
funded by the town of Arundel for say, high school choice kids.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
that
On
were
the seasonal
going,
cottages?
yeah,
Going to Berwick
Right,
Academy. or
that's
something.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the exact language we agreed to, but I remember we did discuss where there could be students from the town of Arundel that would go to other
So
school
we,
districts.
if we just took out RSU 21, would that cover it?
Public
Enroll
school
into
system?
the public
Or
school
any-
system.
Publicly funded education, I don't know how.
Wait a minute, now, question along that your line, Jimmy, turn it public or private? Because, no,
Private you
because-
pay for.
No, private meaning homeschool.
You pay for it.
No, to the state or this town gives you so much supplement.
No, they don't.
Okay, that's what I was understanding, yes, they
I wonder
do.
though,
No, they
if
don't.
a child attends a school in another district, don't they still enroll through the town, because RSU 21 where they live, because don't we pay a portion and then the parent pays the difference?
I got bad news for you guys on this. Tom Van Wycken will always take over this.
What else is new?
I'm not surprised.
About what?
What else is new?
He doesn't want it to be in there.
No, well, he says that's really, that's where you're really stretching the limit. I forgot to tell you guys about that, because I forgot we made this change.
Stretching the limit of
Say that you-
legality.
Yeah, legality, that you can't specify that they can't have kids in the school.
If it's not, then it's not,
But if we told them that they can't have kids in the school, that would prevent people from the town of Arundel from buying these pieces of property.
Yeah, but they're seasonal.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what
They're
the
not
point
gonna have-
is.
They're not gonna have kids in the school system anyway.
Well, this thing that we extended it to December 31st really threw a wrench through it.
Well,
And starting at May 1st, school's still in session. So if you
Yeah.
take that line out, it
Could
could
be in
potentially,
school half the year.
right,
Yeah.
from May,
Maybe
and
from
September,
June.
October, November, December.
Well, you
Well,
only have May and June.
And who's to say, yeah,
June.
if somebody
And the end is
wanted to
September,
purchase
October,
one,
November,
months.
December.
they could live there and then easily get a winter rental from January 1 to April 31.
And move back.
I mean, if that's the intent, is to have this to be for mature residents that aren't as.
Well, we don't want this thing to turn out to be a burden on the school system.
Right.
that's why we put it in there, Tom had a problem with it.
well,
Did he make any recommendations on how to word it?
Yeah, take it out.
no.
To allow, to not have that
Not have it.
school age
Deal with
child
it, deal with
restriction.
it, deal with it at the approval level.
No. I disagree.
I think
Because the
the-
simple fact is, he's done this on too many other things over the years.
Well, I think that, for me, I think the big item is the period of time that's the change to the current ordinance.
Mhm.
So if the board's in agreement, I also think that, you could call out that security staff, maintenance and security staff, may live year round or something. Those
Well, I
would
think
be-
it's a requirement for the maintenance staff to be there.
Yeah, I mean, that one, that's reasonable.
So, they could go, and not address the other, but if you say those can, it means others can.
So the issue that if someone maintenance living there might have kids and,
I was just thinking of that.
No, they will, you gotta assume they will.
yeah.
But it says cottage owners right here, in their guess.
That's what was in the guess, other than maintenance and security staff, no full-time year-round residents will be allowed to live on the resort premises. That's how it reads now.
And I don't think that that's a problem, honestly. First off, this is seasonal cottages, it is being sold as a vacation home. We're not gonna have people coming up here, living in the town of Arundel and trying to send their kids there, and living in these cottages, and then renting someplace to live for 4 months.
But they could be rented out.
No,
Right.
they're closed.
No, but someone could rent it out to someone from September through December.
Yeah,
Or someone might buy it and then run hard times and just be glad to get someone helping pay the rent.
Well, there's a lot of people here, you know, I'm not sure they're not making a big deal of it. I mean, normal course, vacation, everyday people, I know a lot of people that take their vacation down south and go from here
Yeah.
and go down south.
There's one right
And
there.
they go down south and they enroll their kids in the school down there for whatever period they are. They get their documentation and come back. So and that may be the town's point, that's kind of standard. People do that.
What I'm afraid, this is a huge benefit. What's so desirable about this is that there's property tax with no kids. And I wanna make sure we hold on to that.
I think I don't think it's gonna be as big an issue as there's gonna be 258 units out there, and I would doubt that 10% of them would do something like this. The people that are buying these, first off, a lot of them probably won't have kids. They're buying because they're not gonna be able to afford to buy a vacation rental property for $250,000. They're at the point now where they're looking at it going, I gotta pay for my own house and deal with my kids in school now, never mind going someplace and buying a rather expensive vacation home that I'm only gonna be able to go to for a couple of months out of the year. I think we're creating more of an issue than actually exists.
Well, in some way I disagree with you, because how many times have there been property owners, okay, who go buy $1 million piece of property down in Kennebunkport, tear the house down because they don't like the windows or whatever else done.
It doesn't.
I mean, so it's that the price isn't the function, but they turn out to have kids.
How many of those people have kids in the public school system?
Let's see how many people are working.
Yeah, well, they're in private school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't want to be forced to pay for the private school.
Especially if that was,
Well, if you send your kid to private school,
was
you're
recommended by
how's that paying for it?
Okay, can I get a sense
Civil
of,
rights issue.
can I get a sense of somebody, let's start with Bob, do we want to take out that underlined area starting at North Shell and the
I'd
children?
take it out.
How do you feel about it?
Would you ask Bob?
I said I'd take it
Oh,
out.
I take it out.
Okay, I take it out.
I'd
fine
leave,
taking it out.
I'd leave it in there because voters will approve that.
Want to approve that?
Voters in town.
You guys who are gonna, this is made or broken on it, they make the decision on this stuff.
So you're saying if we take that out, the people in town are gonna vote it down?
I don't know if they would, but, well, to December 31st, they'll bring up some
Yeah.
red flags.
I don't think it will.
I don't think so either. And quite honestly, the people that are gonna be renting these, I'm assuming,
They're buying them.
I'd venture to guess how many people really requested to wanna stay here till December 31st. That was never brought up to us until, what, 2-3 months ago?
Yeah, but it
For
did though,
holidays.
went from
But-
October 1st to
But
December 31st.
the reason that when he made the presentation, the rationale behind extending it to December 31st was because people want to come up and go to Prelude and do other things in the Christmas
Have that
season.
Christmas
They're not
holiday.
looking at coming up here and
It's-
staying.
How many people are gonna really do that? Bud, when do you leave to go to Florida?
well, but it depends
As
on,
soon as the
it
cold
depends
weather
on the
sits, I
person.
hit
It could be
some
somebody from
Nope.
upstate New York that wants to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a snowbird to Florida. I mean, it could be somebody that's wants to come up here and enjoy.
But what percentage
I
of
find
those?
there would probably be Boston people who would say that we wanna come up for Putnam, since we have the place.
Either that or they want to come up for skiing.
And then
So
they
they
find,
can use it.
They're gonna be out of luck.
So they can use it a
December
few
31st,
different
the water
times
goes up.
during the
Right.
year. They can use it in the spring, they can use it in the summer, and then they can do their,
but then
Winter
they find that, oh, the town of Arundel will pay for half the tuition, the 9,000 whatever, to go to a private school.
But they won't. To pay for private school, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that the only thing that the town of Arundel gives to private schools is whatever the tuition would be paid out to the RSU.
Well, but that's what he's saying.
He's saying.
That's not $9,000.
It's
Yes,
almost that.
it's-
For a high school student, I bet you.
Yeah.
It is.
Eight
Yeah.
something, eight.
It's the average tuition, it'd be the average
So it'd be
state
half of that.
tuition.
4,000.
I know
So-
of good friends who
Okay.
moved to Arundel for about 6 years, put 3 kids through, they all went to Wayne Fleet, and we all paid for that.
We
They
paid for some of it.
Yeah, $8,000 for
It's-
4 years of it for 3 kids.
It's based on the
Lot of money.
average, I think the average state
$100,000.
high school tuition or something, whatever it is called.
It's just the unintended consequences, I think it could happen.
It could.
Let me ask you this, if we leave it in,
Yeah.
what's Tom's objection, we can't put
This is
it.
a civil rights issue.
Deal with the thing.
Well, deal with it with that.
I'd rather deal
I'll
with
agree
it
with
now.
you on that one, Tom.
Yeah. We agree on a lot.
Okay.
Well, I could go either way, I don't want this to be a make or break, deal breaker.
I'm just going with, you know, Tom is an attorney, and I think we've used.
Yeah, but how many times have we,
Yeah, but, I mean, you think I'd listen to legal advice.
yeah, but everybody has a matter of opinion, and
Okay,
everybody
well,
has
think
an
about it.
opinion.
Did
Think about
town
it.
attorney look at?
No, unfortunately, town attorney did not look at this. There was stuff I threw at her.
Yeah.
She's also was going to Atlanta. So she was like reading this again.
Which fun reading?
Well, she had something to do.
Yeah, she gave us her time.
Okay, we need direction on this, do we wanna?
Take a vote. Take a vote.
Okay, let's, somebody make a motion here.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we strike out everything in 817A5 from nor shall any children be enrolled in the RSU 21 school system except those of the resident maintenance and security staff.
I'll second that.
Your comment is, and that includes extending it from 2 whole months, from October 31st?
Yeah, I don't care if we extend it to December 31st, I want to take out that section about the children in school.
Are you leaving maintenance people allowed?
I'm taking that entire section out. The maintenance person is a citizen of the town of Arundel. They're gonna be able to send their kids to
Yes,
school.
yes.
It won't matter.
Then they'll be able to live there full time.
That's correct.
Except for maintenance and security staff.
All in favor of that motion? Those opposed? Motion carries.
Add some more to RSU.
You know what I'm more concerned about? That this doesn't turn into something like in an old Orchard Beach, it becomes Section 8 housing.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the thing that scares the hell out
It
of me.
scares me.
And it could be a bad downturn in the economy.
That's right. But we saw that 5 years ago when everybody
Yeah.
thought Bartlett Farms was gonna explode with a lot of houses. And
That's,
you and I agreed that it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
that's my concern.
They ain't never gonna get built up.
So,
Okay.
next,
Let's move on. What's next?
district description.
District descriptions.
Resource Protection District. Does that have that in there?
Sure.
We don't have the district descriptions on the agenda, but it was distributed, and it kind of falls.
Keep
into
it
the-
at that.
you're fine.
They look
Let's
good to
get
me.
that done.
Which one?
That's what I wanted to see, I wanted to bring up, because I remember we had that.
District descriptions right here. That's in the very back here.
Yeah, okay, right here, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna do this under housekeeping, but I figured you guys better should see it.
Okay.
This is what's in the back of the ordinance that describes the districts. They're long, ours are short. Basically, they make a reference to the map. And there's the map.
And does the new map take care of the gentleman over here?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
You guys keep going back and forth on that issue.
Well, no, I
Nothing
saw,
but positive
No, I-
from the day one.
I saw the email that you got back from the town attorney. Or the correspondence you had with the town attorney.
Okay, yeah.
Resource protection.
So, anybody have any issues with the district descriptions?
Basically, it's gonna refer to the map.
Okay.
Let's put that aside.
Just a question of all the residents, have you heard any feedback on the zoning map?
We haven't sent it yet,
Okay.
it's going out in the mail.
We've had 2 public hearings on this one. Everybody was notified.
And
We
then
got 4
it'll go out
people.
in the
Oh,
mail
we got
Monday.
6 people or 7 people. So, we'll find out. That's why we're having a public hearing, right? Everybody gets a copy of the map, everybody gets a copy of the DB1, DB2 maps, you have copies of that in your packet. Shows you the notice that's going out on the back side of the maps. Showing the DB1 and DB2, and the same thing with the townhouse corner.
Okay,
Now,
resource protection?
yeah, you can go to that, but you have a letter here to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember at the last meeting that I had basically said that three things to take into consideration. Last meeting, Bud had presented us with information saying that the deer wintering yard, and proof that IFNW said the deer wintering yard does not exist there.
Right.
Therefore, it is not a factor. Deer wintering yards are a factor in our determination in our RP district. He said, terrific, great, okay. And I said, well, I talked to the code enforcement officer, I said, if the condition doesn't exist, then, then obviously, in the ordinance it says, where the condition, let me read it. Exactly. If I can find it quickly. Probably can't. Basically, what our ordinance says is, regardless of the map, it's where the conditions exist.
And you felt that we had to redo the zoning map.
Well, what happened was the town attorney said, you gotta redo the zoning map, you just can't do it. Based on, actually a case in Kennebunk, where the condition did not exist. It was in the shoreline zone, it was along the shore. The condition did not exist, and so they gave the guy a building permit. Gave the guy a building permit on a point. And as it turned out, the court, that was appealed, and the court said, no, it doesn't matter that you said the same thing that our ordinance says, which is where the condition exists, that's where the zone is. They said, well, it doesn't matter because it was such an egregious change that it should have been shown on the map anyway. So even though the map doesn't really count, it needs to change the map anyways. So the map can be changed to be wrong, but the map has to be changed, and that's basically what they said. Now, this was a Superior Court case. This has not gone to law court, so it's not final law. It's just Leah wanted me to let me know about that. So when I was trying to go to map this, saying, okay, I'm going to go map this thing. I'm going to work on the mapping of this, and I could not find out where that blob that's on that map there. Oh, the big NRC there?
Yeah.
I could not find where, I didn't print out all the shoreline zoning stuff on that because it was confusing. But I was trying to figure out where did that blob come from? That's got to have the deer wintering yard. So we couldn't find that. Remember that?
Yeah.
We couldn't find that stuff. Well, in going through the archives of my maps, I overlaid Bud's. Well, no, you didn't have it, but I looked at the original, and I looked at the deer wintering yards, and I tried to find an old deer wintering yard that I could superimpose it. And the end result was I came through some archives of where this thing came from, where this blob came from. And
In fact, we've got
Dan,
the water all the way around.
it's 250 feet.
250, yeah.
Yeah, it's 250 feet. What I found is that if we plug in the wetlands map on top of the shoreline zoning map, that's where it came from, it's the wetlands. So, and here's what I got up here, I think I got a map here for you too. I'll bring this out to you guys. I'm trying to, what we've got, what I can see, what they've done, is here's one for you. Maybe that might be a little easier. What's happened here is we've got wetlands mapping that show basically, and it's right up here. I wanted to show you where this came from because I couldn't figure it out. We just came to this conclusion today. We found out today because I've been working on trying to fix this freaking map. And this is the blob. See it? See the yellow here?
No.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you can. It's the yellow outline here. That yellow outline here is the 250-foot setback from the resource. What's inside, what you've got inside is a series of wetlands. And at first I said, they gotta meet our criteria for wetlands. And I started looking at them, okay, shrub swamp, emergent marsh, emergent marsh, emergent marsh, emergent marsh, emergent marsh. Holy crap, these are emergent marshes. Which means, in other words, they're wading bird and wildlife habitat. Now, that's where this came from. This thing's from that. This basically is a complex of interconnected emergent marshes, including this thing, which I really have serious questions about. I think I've expressed that to you. I've expressed it to a lot of people. I don't think that's 150 feet across, but that's that swale that basically goes between Marcel's land and his brother's land. So, but what we've got is we've got this complex of emergent marshes, and then whoever did this mapping, let's assume Dan, basically took the 250 foot from the outside of these emergent marshes. So, I have questions about this one right in here, but because I didn't print it out, but I laid it over the
Okay, pop around so we can see
I'm
where
sorry,
over here
I'm
is.
sorry. I laid it over the aerial, and I saw a lot of pine trees. So I have some questions about this. But the point is that this wasn't based on the deer yards, as I thought. It's based on wetlands. Now, are these wetlands all high value emergent, wading bird? Because that's what the criteria now. The criteria are several criteria. One is emergent. It's also, we have this little provision in here.
Deer wading wild habitat or something.
Well,
Wading birds.
it's wading birds, but it's changed, and this is why we needed to change it, because it talks about wading bird habitat. But the new ordinance, the one that was passed by DEP recently, in the last year, talks about high value. We don't say high value, and that's what's kind of crazy. We have waterfowl and wading bird habitats, including nesting and feeding areas, shorebird nesting and feeding and staging areas. That was amended in 2000. Let's see, what else do we have?
Yeah, but this isn't on the ocean for the puffins.
Well, yeah, but puffins aren't wading birds.
They live in the ocean.
Yeah, they don't wade. They swim.
What's the tiny little things?
Those
The
are
plovers?
yeah, the plovers.
Hybrid plovers.
Yeah, that's a different.
They don't wade either.
Yeah, they are. They actually are. They don't stay in there. They run away from the water. Sandpipers do that too. The problem is we got to address this from a regulatory standpoint. We've got two things, and I know this is the last minute for Bud, and I rather apologize for this. But I think what we've got is, I'm not sure we can address this at this time. I think there's several things that have to happen. We have to address our ordinance, because our ordinance is archaic, number one.
And the definition of what's an RP?
Well, yeah, because now the new RP is high value,
Right.
Well, from the
right?
state's
It's high
Right, from the
value.
state's perspective.
From the state's perspective, it's high value. So they've lowered the standard. The question Bud's, and we have to determine as a group, between Bud and us, is what's high value out here? And we have to determine, first of all, I have some questions about whether these wetland boundaries are accurate in the field.
Yeah.
Okay? I have questions on this one right over here. This is the thing that's really hurting you. For instance, here's your road coming in, your
Yeah.
camp's over, over here?
Can't see
Yeah.
where you're talking about.
Your camp's over on this side, over here, I think. This is what's causing him the most grief, and I have some questions about that.
That's high ground.
I think it is too. You
It
know
is.
you know what it's listed as? Palustrian shrub swamp, number 4 with a 1E. I think that we have to have some redefinition of it. I think we really do.
Now, here, that's all high ground here.
Yeah, this is the setback.
Yeah.
This is the 250-foot setback. So that should be high ground. So this is all the 250-foot setback that defines the zone.
Yeah.
This, you got a little piece of emergent marsh here.
Yeah,
That's,
there is.
that seems like a ditch.
Yeah.
You got an emergent marsh, you got a little piece of forested, so I'm not sure, I don't think he took it from there. It looks to me like he took it from here. Because that's not
That was
250.
my thought.
Yeah.
So I think he didn't
Yeah,
exclude this.
we all agreed
But he's
that.
saying.
What I think is, I think there's a problem here, and I don't know where the wetlands, if I take off the setbacks, you can see where the wetlands show. This is the, and remember, this is the national wetlands. How accurate they are, I don't know, but that's what they base it. So, they based the map on this.
I think
We
that-
change it.
Is that a
we
motion?
So it
change
wasn't,
to
it
meet
wasn't
the new
based on the area.
state
Hey,
I thought
is
it
that a
was.
motion?
What-
You thought it was based on the deer yards
I
too,
know.
because
Well,
we had a
that's
deer
one
yard.
conversation
Yeah,
up there, it's
yeah,
not
deer
doing
yard.
it us here.
And remember, the first time I
Okay.
came out there, I said, this is no deer yard.
Ted,
This is what he based it on. Yeah.
okay, yeah, you guys are having a conversation.
I'm
We're
sorry.
trying-
I'm sorry, we're just talking about.
Explain the 250-foot setback.
Yeah, this yellow we hear is the 250-foot
So we
setback.
can't, because now the state,
They-
he's
So-
that-
not
uh,
referring to as a deer wintering out there.
They didn't just take it from the 250-foot.
No, they took it
All
from all the
years.
wetlands. They took it from
Has
all of these
determined
wetlands
not
since
to
they're
do
associated
Which
with this.
Bud has.
And see how,
provided
see
the
the
evidence that
PE,
it's not
that
there.
means it's emergent, which is the same stuff that's around the pond here.
I do understand.
And actually, if you do look on the aerials, this is quite a complex of emergent
But
marsh
it's
up
gotta
in
be
here.
verified in the field.
But that's what they took it from. They
New
took
direction
it from
from the
these
state.
wetlands,
That
not
has to all
from
be
just
done.
the edge of the
In the
pond.
interim.
So I think we needed to do some
With the
homework here.
change of the map coming.
Yes.
I've lost my voice.
No, if
All
I-
right.
You gotta do some homework, we gotta do some.
Uh,
Okay? So.
Bob, do you wanna make a motion?
Well,
I-
I wanna have a
let's-
discussion.
Right.
That's what I wanna have.
We don't have time, we got 20 minutes, we have to be out here.
Yeah, well, we can make a discussion about this, because this is important. This is something that's been driving him crazy and been driving me crazy for a long time.
Okay, by our current regulation, and which has happened in other municipalities, when you call the conditions on the ground, if they don't exist, then they have built, and it's gone to court, and it isn't
Right.
final.
Right.
So here we have conditions that,
Whether
with documentation that has come before this board and to the town planner, that shows that that is not the condition on the field. Our town planner and staff has verified with the state that their thing has changed. We've got a new state regulation that's saying these sorts of things wouldn't even be high value. The board.
I don't know that.
We do.
No.
We're saying it right now.
You just said that the state said that is now only considering high value.
Mark, you haven't changed your ordinance yet. That's your ordinance right now. You say any place that's a.
Oh,
that's a
I know,
waiting-
but I'm not to the end of the discussion. So the ordinance might have to be changed, but what would have to be changed is the zoning map.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For it to be if the board so chooses to adopt the new high value as determined by the state, why wouldn't that resolve it with the map to be changed to reflect these new changes once identified?
Okay, well, the first thing that has to be done is we have to identify what's valid and what isn't on this. Because this, right now, you base this based on information that comes from National Wetlands Inventory. That's what this map material is from, National Wetlands Inventory. Whether this exists on the ground as shown or not has not been determined. I haven't surveyed it all, so I don't know if this is accurate.
Well,
I've already told Bud, and Bud and I agree that we have some suspicions, because I've been out there with him and with Jim. I have some suspicions that this is inaccurate. But it has to be modeled on the ground. It has to be determined on the ground, and then we have to find out whether it's high value or not. But it doesn't matter, because our ordinance right now doesn't make a distinction on high value. Until we change our ordinance, we use the existing ordinance and what it tells us to do, which is wading bird habitat. I'm assuming, and this is a big assumption on my part, that these emergent marshes are what caused them to consider it to be wading bird habitat, because an emergent marsh is wading bird habitat.
Can I ask a question? At first, we were looking at whether or not it's a deer wintering area, but now it also includes wading bird habitat. So what if it is wading bird habitat, but it's not deer? Can we do anything about that?
Both are deer wintering, waterfowl and wading, and shorebird nesting are all part of the shoreland zone.
Right, so, but even if deer weren't there,
The other ones
The
are
other
birds.
ones
Take
would-
precedent.
It's not an all or nothing, it's any of the
any
above.
of the above, yeah.
Any and all. It's any and all.
Okay, I got you.
Now, deer wintering yard is just what we all thought was causing this, is
Right.
not the issue. It's
May-
this
maybe it's the
wetlands.
other.
It's the wetlands.
Well, right now, after today and last night, it's definitely wetlands up there, and enough rain.
So that, nothing we can do about this right now without changing our ordinance, right?
No, we have to change the ordinance. So there's two things that have, I mean, we have to address this issue, because, you know, I brought this up before, we have to address our shoreline zoning, because we have a number of things there that are more stringent than the current zoning ordinance, or the current state mandatory ordinance. And second of all, Bud's, you know, this is the best data I've got, are the conditions out there. This is the best data. So unfortunately, this is gonna either fall on us or Bud, and probably gonna fall on Bud, to determine whether these boundaries are correct, and whether this wetland is high value. Now, determination of wetland of high value is something that DEP, or excuse me, shoreline zoning should be able to make that determination. Where the boundaries are has gotta be determined in the field.
So they do a flyover.
I can't change, I can't.
That's probably an on the ground.
The reason I brought this is I don't feel comfortable changing this map because I don't know what's real and what isn't.
You're right.
You know? And I'm sorry that this is last minute like this is, because Bud has asked us to deal with this for a while, but, you know, we didn't know that this was the factor. I actually went into to change the map today, and that's when I discovered this when I went through some old layers to try to find out where the original deer wintering yard was. And
How
found out
old
that it
is
wasn't.
this? They consider.
Goes back to 2000.
This considered a shoreline zone right here.
They're considering this the shoreline zone right here. This right here, this arm that comes in here,
Right,
and
yeah.
that's where we're getting the 250 here.
Setback, yeah.
Yeah. So in your case here, now look at this. We got an emergent here,
Yeah.
but it's small and isolated, so it's not included. We got the forested palustrian wetland here, and then it's not included. This is coming off of this, and this is coming off the back end of that. So this isn't an issue, that isn't an issue, this is being considered part of this. I have questions as you do, whether, I think that's high ground. I don't think that's a shrub swamp, I think that's an aerial misinterpretation, and Jamie knows, for instance, that a lot of the wetland stuff, the National Wetland Survey is done just like soils, it's done by aerial interpretation. And in dense areas like conifers, and this is all conifers in there, they can make a mistake, and I think they made a mistake. But we have to get that ground truth. We have to get it certified on the ground.
To me, I see that very similarly to a floodplain.
Yeah.
Where floodplains are delineated maybe off of 20-foot contours. And it has a lot of room for error in it. And this is the same type of thing.
Because, 1998, when we had this flood, and after the whole town had flooded, I had FEMA came over, okay, they came down to identify.
And the pond here, they got a GPS marking here, that the water was only,
Went up a foot higher than normal.
Yeah.
It never floods, beyond, I think the table was up a foot, that's all it was.
as a matter of fact, now I think the beavers are there, and I think
That's
They probably flooded up about the same height as before, when it was a flood. I think 1988.
You got any trappers
Got
in
a
there?
couple, we got
Much snow issues in the
So we can't deal with this right now, but I think this is something ongoing we've got to deal with.
Right.
You know, and we'll have opportunities for changing the map later on. in the
Well,
year.
what I'll have is also Al Ficker's done some,
That's important.
okay.
Yeah.
That's important. We need to see what he's got
All
out
right,
there,
okay.
in reality on the earth, face of the earth.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
And you could send Al in and talk to me when he's got some
Okay.
data. We can go over this and then talk to Mike Morris about his mapping of, or his criteria for what's high value.
Okay,
That's what they have to change high value,
yeah.
or else we just have to verify that this isn't wading bird habitat.
Yeah.
One of the two. So, okay?
Okay.
You can have this. You want this? Give it to Al, give it to Al, I'll print on one.
Okay.
Ted, on the miscellaneous changes, do we have to address that, or we did that on the pet daycare?
Miscellaneous changes was basically allowing me to make artifact changes or numbering changes in the ordinance that might be there. That, you know, when I go through and do the warrants, I have to do the warrants and I might find some errors.
We'll find some after it gets approved.
Change of duration, stay at section, we've already addressed that, we said we went along with that. Zoning map amendments,
Yep, there's the zoning map. All the copy in your
right
packet.
here, yeah.
Any changes to it now?
You guys have any comment? Leave it as is, okay. And,
Public hearing date, you've got a scheduled
Yep.
public hearing, we
26th.
have a motion for
You have
that.
a motion, and you have to amend.
And we have to amend that motion.
On your townhouse map here,
Yeah,
okay, most people don't realize, okay, that coming down off Senate Road is actually Kennebunkport too in there.
Yep.
I mean, there should be some kind of designation just for clarity. Because otherwise, you think the Senate Road goes all the way down and that's Arundel. But how that turn on has that jog in it, it should turn on have some kind of clarification showing that it's Kennebunkport.
thank you.
Good night.
All right, bud.
You too.
Town boundary.
Yeah, we could put a town boundary in there. What I could do is beef up the line weight.
Yep.
So it's a very definite town boundary, so it's very obvious that it's a town boundary, Marty. That's what I'll do with the zoning map.
Clearly shows town boundary.
Right.
easy way.
Yeah, the old fashioned way.
Right.
Now, it shows pretty good on
Put a
this.
little Sharpie.
See it?
Yeah, but you're black and white there, you got color.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a color printer, so.
No, I'm just,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
but I think the
bold
line weight
your
is the
line.
way you gotta do it.
Right.
Okay,
So you're gonna have to amend that before I can send out those notices.
I need a motion to set a public hearing date. And
Motion to have a public hearing, next available opportunity, what's that?
No, May
22nd.
22nd.
Okay.
It's not next available opportunity, it's when we meet all of our posting and notification requirements by state statute.
Just,
You know,
that's
we-
what I meant.
We have,
That's exactly what Tom said. And that's the motion with the two additions.
okay, so we gotta read every one of these.
Who's making?
You want me to read it?
No, I'll read it, okay. Planning board hereby sets public hearing date for May 22nd, 2014, for the public to comment on the following proposed amendments and additions to the Arundel Land Use Ordinance. Additions and deletions to section 2.2 definitions. Additions and deletions to the official land use map under section 3.3. Additions and deletions to section 6.2 district regulations and 6.3 dimensional requirements. Additions and deletions to section 7.5 lighting. Additions and deleting to sections 7.6 off-street parking. Rescind and replace section 7.8 landscaping. Additions and deletions to section 7.12 signs. Additions of section 8.21 downtown business district 1. Addition of section 8.22 downtown district 2. Reserve section 8.23. Addition of section 8.24 townhouse corner district. Addition of section 8.25 drive-through facilities. Addition section 8.26 pet daycare facilities. Rescind and replace section 13.1 description of DB1 district. Rescind and replace section 13.3 description of DB2 district. Add section 13.5 description of townhouse corner district and renumber rest of section 13. Amend the ordinance for grammatical and numerical and reference errors. Addition of pet daycare to rural R4 and BI district. Change duration of stay in section 8.17A5.
Yes.
And
Well,
8:17.
8.1785.
8.17A5.
How about the Seasonal cottage,
That was
That's
it.
that's it, that's
That was
right.
it, immigration
That's,
expense.
that's 817.
817.
So I'm gonna second that motion.
I don't have a,
You just
You
made the
made the
motion.
You made the motion.
Vote?
Okay.
all in favor? Was opposed? So pass.
Alright, so we go to public hearing on May 22nd.
Okay, other business, Mr. Planner, we got, 7 minutes to cover it.
No, I don't have any other business.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
In favor? We have a meeting on the 15th,